Hello, everyone, and welcome to the NintendoFuse Podcast. This is episode 231 of the NintendoFuse Podcast, and we're going to be talking about our reactions to E3 2021. My name is Steve, and I'm, of course, joined here by my fellow hosting crew of Barry and Greg. Barry, how's it going, man? It's been a big E3.
Exhausted. I'm looking forward to sleeping and being able to play some games again.
Yep. Just imagine we weren't actually even on the show floor. Not that there was a show floor at all this year either, but so much work from home this year.
Yeah, a lot.
Someone that has been to the show floor before with me, Greg. How's E3 been for you?
Definitely is very different compared to 2 years ago with the last one, but it's still pretty optimistic and had a lot of hype going into it, and it pretty much delivered, at least on the stuff that I pay attention to. So we'll be getting more into that, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're going to talk a lot about E3 tonight. In fact, pretty much most of our regular podcast components that we work in, like what we've been playing and the review and stuff like that, we're actually going to put to the side because there's so much E3 content this year. But before we jump into any of that, we just wanted to remind you guys to follow us on social media. We're at NintendoFuse on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We'd love for your follow there, and that's a great way to just connect with us on there. We were live tweeting not the podcast. We were live tweeting the Nintendo Direct earlier today. Just a great way to connect with us on there. And also, if you haven't done so yet, please be sure to join our Discord. The link is on the screen, also in the show notes, the YouTube description. We do this live on YouTube, so if you have not joined us live for an episode, a live recording, be a great thing to do it. We're doing it an hour earlier tonight, so if you're watching it live, we've already started an hour earlier than usual. But if you have not been able to join us live, usually it's at 6:30 p.m. No, sorry, that's my time. Mountain time. It's 6:30 p.m. It's 8:30 p.m. Eastern time and 5:30 p.m. Pacific time on a regular basis. But tonight we are an hour earlier. Every other Tuesday is kind of the usual schedule that we do. So love to join you in the chat room, see all the thoughts that you have about the podcast and any of the news that we talk about. Speaking of which, if you have any thoughts about any of the E3 stuff we talk about tonight, toss those in the live chat or in the comment section later on if you're watching us here on YouTube. Or like I said, join us on social media or Discord. We'd love to hear your thoughts. All right. Well, because we're going to jump past our normal what we've been playing, we do have a quick update. We told you guys last episode that we're going to do a giveaway, but also a review, kind of game chat about a specific game called Long Ago, A Puzzle Tale. We are going to push that review and game chat back to our next episode because there's so much content to cover here in this episode about E3. However, we are going to do the giveaway tonight still. So that review will be pushed back, but we are going to still do the giveaway. I want to thank the developers and publishers of Long Ago, A Puzzle Tale for being able to just give us a code for you guys to redeem on the North American eShop for Switch. And we put this out there on Twitter. We had a lot of response for this, so Thank you to all who joined in and entered the drawing. But Barry, do we have a winner?
We do. The winner of the Long Ago code is Kevin W, which is at Nintendo Dad 420.
Nintendo Dad 420, awesome. So we tried to follow back all the people that entered, and so you should be able to direct message us. We'll make sure that we are definitely following you, Nintendo Dad, and just reach back out to us on Twitter. We'll also announce it on our Twitter a little bit later if you are not watching right now or after the fact and you missed the fact that you won. But if you are watching right now, be sure to direct message us, and we'll be able to get you that code. So congratulations. All right.
Congratulations.
Well, E3 2021. We are back. It's all digital. but we are back. So before we jump into any of the details about E3 this year, I'd love to just get your general thoughts about how they pulled it off this year. We didn't have E3 at all in 2020, but they decided to go all digital, as with a lot of events did this last year. And yeah, I'd love to just hear what you guys think about what happened, how they did everything, all the different companies and components, and how it all worked together. Your overall impressions of E3 2021. Barry, let's go to you first.
For me, it didn't change much. No, I have never been to the show floor. And for me, I've just always watched the press conferences and the treehouse, and used to watch back in the day, like Game Trailers used to do big coverage, and Jeff Keighley did a lot of coverage, and that to me, that was the excitement, just seeing the new games and seeing the developers showing them off and talking about them. I had a lot of fun doing that. Even games that I really wasn't interested in, I like to hear the developer insight and why they made the game the way they did. So in that regards, not a lot changed. I feel like they definitely padded some things, and I almost feel like certain companies were padding their own show, and I don't know if it was because of COVID or they're just not used to this format. For me, it was fine. I'm sure those that go every year, I'm sure those that are used to going to the show floor, it's certainly a different atmosphere, and I'm sure they miss it. I could just imagine it's probably like a big party, and just being able to play the games. And that's the one thing I feel like this E3 was missing is demos. Like, I feel like they should have done something to allow people to play demo versions of the games that would have been on the show floor to demo, because even us, that the regular people, but like the press, would get to play those games, and then they would write their feedback on it and their hands-on experience. And for a lot of people, that helped make their purchase. Certain games, like, I'm going to buy that right away, and other ones it's like, I'll see how it is, and oh, so and so played it, and oh, they loved it, okay, well, maybe I'll give it a chance. So hopefully, if they continue, like 2022 is also digital, or if it's not, regardless, doing some kind of demos, even time demos. You can only play this for a day or two. I think that would be really cool. Let other people sitting at home be a part of the experience.
Yeah, that makes sense. Jakester in the chat is saying that, in his humble opinion, E3 2021 sucked. He felt more like a show of what company could do worse than the other. Those are some strong comments there, Jakester. But yeah, I maybe could see where you're coming from. Not as much. I'll get into my thoughts in just a second. But first, I want to hear from Greg. Greg, what'd you think of E3 2021?
I mean, it was pretty nice having like the digital stuff. That's not gonna lie, because then each company had their own time to shine. I feel like in like previous years, like there was like some overlap. So it was like, oh, you have to commit to Microsoft or Sony because they were both on like the same night kind of thing. But obviously, with everyone having to watch from home, then you couldn't really do any overlap, and there was more respect for each other to make sure that the announcements were all like there and everything. But I do agree with Barry. I do feel like they should be doing demos with E3. This should have started more like several years ago, even, just because it gives more people the chance to more experience it and be like, oh, I played they announced this game, then I got to play it for 20 minutes, and this game is fantastic. It's day one purchase. I don't know why that's not a thing to try out more games, like when they do like the Project Triangle Strategy did, and like some of the other games that Square Enix has done. But it would be very fantastic for more demos and stuff. I mean, obviously we don't need it for like the new Smash Brothers fighter or anything like that, but even just like being able to try out like WarioWare, or trying out the new Mario Party game, or Metroid Dread. I mean, I'm sure that would definitely help increase the sales by getting more exposure to let people actually experience it themselves.
Yeah. I agree. I think it was something that was missing, for sure. And I think the general, the idea of like there's kind of this buzz that just kind of continued throughout the entire event was kind of not there, because there wasn't, constantly more and more press that were playing the games and checking it out. And you hear from, IGN at one time, and then turn around and you hear from Game Explain and all these other places too. And this kind of constant buzz. And I feel like in past years, everywhere I turned, like I was hearing and seeing more stuff, and if I didn't want to be spoiled, I needed to like stay off the internet. But I didn't feel like that was the case this year, and I was actually like I said last episode, I was out of the country and actually not really in that good of internet coverage, so I was only on the internet like certain times while I was gone, and I still. I expected to see a bunch of stuff all the time, just kind of just flooding my inbox and everything I looked at, but that wasn't the case. And so while I missed a lot, I missed a lot of the events and a lot of stuff that we're going to be talking about tonight, except for the Nintendo Direct one. But I don't feel like I missed the content, but that's really easy to catch up on. It's the rest of the stuff that I didn't really miss because it didn't really happen. But just real quick, Dave says, welcome back. Thanks so much, Dave. He just wanted to drop by and say Metroid and WarioWare hype, and have a great podcast. He'll catch the rest later. So thanks for stopping by, Dave. Dave's been killing it on our website lately. So if you haven't checked out NintendoFuse.com, be sure to check that out. We're going to refer to that several times tonight in our episode. So if you haven't checked out our website, please do that. All right. Well, got the general stuff out of the way. Let's get a little more detailed. And to start us off, let's talk all about the main event for us. And that is the Nintendo Direct, which happened this morning. And to kick it off, we had a little announcement about Super Smash Brothers. So Kazuya, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. But he's coming to Smash Ultimate. If you're unfamiliar with this character, he showed up and he's a regular character in the Tekken series. So now we have fighting characters from Street Fighter, Fatal Fury, and Tekken series in Smash. And so that's a pretty exciting, I think, thing for a lot of people. But I'd love to hear what you guys think about this character. This is character number 6, I think. Oh, 5 characters in the Fighter Pass Volume 2. So we know we have one more character left. But we're going to find out more about this character. Sakurai is going to lead us through, I think they said it's going to be 40 minutes or something like that on June 28th at 7 a.m. Pacific time. You guys can watch where he normally goes through and describes all the background and the detail about what went into him. It goes through all the moves and all that stuff on June 28th. What do you think about this character being in the game? Greg, we're going to go to you first.
Well, I've actually never played any Tekken games, but definitely excited for everybody else that are huge fans of it. I know it's a major fighting series, and it's always great to see additional actual fighting characters from fighting games to be in Smash Brothers. So I easily welcomed Ryu and like you said, Terry and stuff from other games that I haven't really played exclusively. It's almost making me feel like the last character should almost round it out, be from Mortal Kombat or Killer Instinct, because then that'd be the holy grail for all the fighting series all coming together under one umbrella. So I think that would be a pretty incredible way to cap it off. Obviously, we don't know anything about that yet, but so like I said, just really happy for people that were looking forward to a new Tekken fighter, or the only Tekken fighter, I guess, at this point. But he does look like he's going to be very powerful, and it would be great to kind of see how he's going to play out when they go through him in more in depth in a few weeks.
Yeah, it'd definitely be crazy to get some Killer Instinct and Mortal Kombat especially characters. We only have one left, so it has to be one or the other if it's going to be one of those. But,
well, if you've been following the rumor train, there might be a bonus final character based on how they've been numbered and all the items and stuff included. I've seen some rumblings, kind of like a Piranha Plant-esque character that might be a reward bonus or something.
It'd be like Sakurai himself. He put himself in the
there
game.
There we go.
Nice.
Hey, there's rumors of him finally retiring, so maybe that's Maybe that's what he's going to do. Put himself in the game right before he retires.
So be immortalized forever.
That's right. That's right. Barry, what'd you think of this addition to Smash Brothers?
Well, I figured one of the last two was going to be a Bandai Namco rep. I mean, they are working on the game, and they helped, I believe, with Smash 4 as well. And they only have one rep, but Pac-Man. So it kind of feels weird, like, why do you only have one rep when other companies have multiple? So I was personally hoping for a Tales of character. But that would have been another probably anime sword fighter that people would have been like crying over. So for those that don't like anime sword fighters, I'm happy for you here. I've never been a big Tekken fan. I was always a Street Fighter and a Mortal Kombat kid growing up. But I understand the importance of the character, and I am happy for those that are big Tekken fans. I'm happy for those that want more fighting representation, more brawlers. You definitely got your wish, and that's fantastic. The last characters introduced, Pyra and Mythra, were my dream characters, so it doesn't matter at this point. It's all whatever. I'm happy. I'm satisfied, and I'm just happy for those gamers. I do expect that when the fighter passes reveal, or the characters revealed, and they do like the Mii costumes, we'll probably see the Lloyd costume, which from Tales of Symphonia, the only costume from Smash 4 that has yet to come over, and it's fitting to go with the Bandai Namco character. So we'll probably see that, and then Smash Ultimate will really have all of Smash 4's characters and content, really. But yeah, I'm happy for those. I will definitely be playing it and checking out the video that Sakurai does. And yeah, I look forward to whatever the last character is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I imagine, given some time, we're gonna have everything from Smash 4 brought over as well. Yeah, Tekken is one of those games that I had a season with. One of my best friends, we roomed together when I was in grad school, and he got me into Tekken, and so I played a lot of Tekken 3 and Tekken 4. Played it both like on PlayStation, was it 2 or 3 at the time, and played it a lot in the arcade. There was like a local arcade that was near our school that we could go to, and actually, like, all the games were on free play, and we just pay one price and get in. So I got a lot of really sore wrists from playing a lot of Tekken, and so yeah, it's cool for me because I have a little bit of history with the character, more than I did like Terry. And I know Jakester is actually he was more hyped for Terry. I'm actually more hyped for the Tekken characters because that was a season for me. But like Ryu was way more important because I have a lot more time with Street Fighter than any of those. But yeah, it'd be cool and kind of crazy if we do see, Killer Instinct to be out of this world to be able to see a Mortal Kombat character in that last one.
Full gore and Sub-Zero.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if how they would tone it down just because of all the blood and stuff that usually are required for that one. That's also what kind of threw KI out there, because I know like Microsoft and Nintendo have kind of been going pretty good lately, and Killer Instinct was on Nintendo platforms back on Super Nintendo and 64. So
yeah, I feel like if either of those, it'd definitely be Killer Instinct because of that. Jakester says he's a King of Fighters kid, so that makes sense. For sure.
However, Microsoft does have a rep in both fighter passes already. Banjo in the first season and Steve in the second. So will they really get 2 out of the 6? It's a third of the fighter pass too.
Still room for Master Chief.
If
they want another one. Well, there was so much more announced in this E3 Nintendo Direct. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to run through a bunch of stuff real quick, and then we're going to take several of these things at a little slower and dive into like some of the big stuff. So if you want to head over to NintendoFuse.com, you will see Dave's post kind of rundown of a bunch of stuff that was pretty much everything that was announced during this Nintendo Direct. But as the title card there shows, Metroid Dread is a real thing and it's coming. So we'll talk about Metroid Dread. We're going to talk about Breath of the Wild 2 because there was stuff that shown off. We're going to, of course, like I said, Smash Brothers Ultimate character Kazuya there. WarioWare is coming back. Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. Shin Megami Tensei 5 was shown off. Advance Wars came back as well in a 1+2, both of those games together in a reboot camp. Game & Watch, Legend of Zelda is coming out, along with Mario Party Superstars, a new game. Monster Hunter Stories 2, Monster Hunter Stories 2, Wings of Ruin was shown off, along with Life is Strange True Colors and Life is Strange Remastered Collection. We also got to see Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania and Dagon. How do you pronounce this, Barry? I know you're excited about this, and I don't know how to pronounce it. Danganronpa. So Danganronpa S Ultimate Summer Camp is coming out, along with Danganronpa Decadence. And we got some more information about Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity Expansion Pass, showed off Mario Golf Super Rush. The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD was also shown off, along with Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2, Just Dance 2022, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy 2-Point Campus, Worms, Rumble, Fatal Frame, Maiden of Blackwater, Cruise and Blast, Doom Eternal DLC called Raise Hell, Dragon Ball Z, Kakarot, a new power.
Whoa. Say that again.
I have no idea how to pronounce it. Probably did. I'm going to say I have not watched Dragon Ball Z, so fill me in. How do you pronounce this?
Kakarot.
I didn't get that far off. It's
Yeah,
not like I pronounced it kangaroo.
The same thing.
Also, Strange Brigade and Astria Ascending, or Austria Ascending. I think it's Astria. I don't know. That was one they just hit really quick. So a lot to talk about. We're going to jump back up to the top because the main, one of the big things that we found out was that Metroid Dread is a thing, and it is coming this year. In fact, I believe it is set to come out October 8th, and pre-orders started today. So it's a 2D Metroid game, a new story 19 years in the making, and direct sequel to Metroid Fusion, which they say makes it Metroid 5. If you're counting, there have been 6 somewhat 2D Metroid games. So we're really not sure which one they're not counting. Probably Other M. So if you get the special edition, it comes with the game, a steelbook, a 190-page 2D Metroid art book, 5 cards that feature all of those games in the saga. So we'll find out which one they left out by looking at the cards. We couldn't really tell exactly from the artwork they gave us of the special edition. And you also, they had a Samus amiibo character from that game specifically, and also Emmy, which is E-M-M-I, and we're not really sure what that stands for, I don't think yet, but it's kind of one of the main enemies in the game that basically makes the game a lot more focused on stealth. And you have to do a lot of things to evade this character or this enemy because you cannot shoot it and kill it. You have to actually just avoid it. So that's both of those amiibo are coming in a 2-pack at launch. So Barry, what do you think about Metroid Dread and maybe the amiibo as well?
When there was rumors that it'd be a 2D Metroid, I didn't believe it, but I was hoping because I think Mercury Steam did a fantastic job on Samus Returns, and I'm happy that they're back. I'm happy they were able to get a full-fledged game, and when I saw it, I was like, this looks amazing. And then when the name was shown, I just jaw dropped. And for those that don't know, there was a long time rumor where there was a new game in development. I believe it was for like an unnamed Nintendo portable. It might have been the Atlantis or something like that, called Dread. And there was hints. They like in Metroid Prime and in Metroid Fusion, there was like 2 parts where they like each referenced Dread. And I was like, oh, it's got to be a new game, and like rumors. And for a long time, we all thought it was a real thing, and of course it wasn't until now. Now it's apparently a real thing. It looks phenomenal. Looks like it plays really well. Like it's fast and fluid, and just the animation is great. I am super hyped. I got that collector's edition, which sold out practically instantly because Nintendo underestimates their audience. They like to say we could produce 8 and that should suffice for the entire United States, Canada, and Mexico. Same with the amiibo. The amiibo look amazing. As an amiibo collector, I have to get them, but I would get them anyway because I love Metroid. And the same thing, those sold out super fast. Managed to get them at GameStop. They were out for like 2 minutes at Best Buy. They got out of the cart as I was checking out. And my guess again is they probably produced 10 of those. It's Nintendo likes to do that. They do the scarcity thing. Whether or not there'll be hundreds of them or there'll be one print, we don't know. I don't know what they do. I'm sure they're going to do something that's totally not needed, but people will complain about it on the internet because, oh my God, I have to buy these amiibo to do this thing that I don't normally need to do. But either way, I'm really excited for this. Like, hands down, 2 days before my birthday, I'm totally going to be playing this.
Nice. Yeah.
Nice birthday present for me
For
from
sure.
Nintendo.
Yeah, I was not a huge Metroid fan in the beginning. I really don't like the first game, but Super Metroid got me, but I still kind of stayed away from it because Super Metroid was enough for me. I just kept playing the game over and over. Didn't play Fusion, didn't play the handheld games, but I actually got Other M, and I'm one of the few people that enjoyed that game. It's not.
I did too.
It's not miraculous. It's not some amazing, oh my gosh, that was the game of the year sort of thing. But I enjoyed it. So here's Barry did too. Greg, did you get a chance to play Other M?
I did. I was one of the people that gave up on it and didn't
Gave
really
up on
like
it. Okay. Hey, we're 2 for 3 on Other M. So yeah, are you excited about Metroid Dread, Greg?
Absolutely. Metroid is like one of my top 3 or 4 Nintendo franchises. This is like beyond like anything. Like my mind just exploded when I saw the Dread thing because, as Barry said, like that Metroid Dread was like the rumor for since the Super Nintendo. It almost feels like oh, they're gonna have a sequel to. I don't know. I was just throwing it.
Feels like
system. It was probably like the 64 Advance or whatever it is. I don't know, but yeah, it looks very clean. I absolutely love how they are adapting a lot of the stuff that Samus Returns did, like the melee counter and stuff. I think that's going to be a welcome back addition. I think like sliding will fit perfectly and natural, and I almost wonder if like this one's really going to be using the morph ball a lot, because it almost seems like you'll be just kind of sliding a lot more through like those passages where the morph ball would normally be used. So I don't know. That might not be token ability in this one, and I'd be more than fine with that. I mean, it looks very clean, and just trying to stay away from that Emmy thing looks very exciting to do, and it also looks like it could be kind of annoying because I did watch a little bit of the Treehouse, and it was just like it's like an instant permakill, so it's kind of can be frustrating. So it doesn't matter how many energy tanks you have; it just be like, boom, nope, you're gone.
Yep. Yeah.
It also was really cool that they showed you can actually kill those things, like with like that certain upgrade that you get like kind of early on. So it just seems like you have to charge it, and you have to you're like charging it while it's approaching you, and then they were able to kill it like right before it like got to Samus. So and then pretty much it gets disabled for a certain specified time. So it's almost feels like Bowser's Fury in a way, where you can't always fight Fury Bowser, and you might not always have the tool needed to fight him at that point in time. And so probably a lot of the levels or a lot of the areas will just be exploring through a lot, and that thing will just be chasing you, and then finally towards the end they'll feel like, oh, now you can finally take this thing out. So
yeah,
to me that looks exciting, and I really love the Metroid series and the Metroidvania type games, and I'm definitely going to be getting this as soon as I can.
Yeah, I think so. I think it could be great, and it seems a lot faster as well. I think like the slide ability and stuff like that will make it quick. And I'm really hoping if they can keep it at 1080p and a solid 60 frames per second the whole time, it'll feel really smooth. That'd be fun for sure. I think one of the things that caught me off a little bit, and maybe because I wasn't fully paying attention, but it seems like during the treehouse as well, like you can tell which rooms have Emmy in it by the doors. I think they knew it was an Emmy room by the way the door looked. Maybe I just heard that wrong, or maybe they just knew because there's a treehouse and they knew what was behind that door. But if it's that kind of case, like you know what you're getting into every time, I don't know. It kind of feels like weird, but maybe that's only in the beginning. Maybe like there's certain doors as you get used to it, and then eventually that goes away and you could be caught by it at any point. If that's the case, then that makes sense. It's kind of a learning curve sort of thing. But yeah, did you guys, Brer, you said you already got it pre-ordered. Greg, did you pre-order it already?
Probably, like, I'm not like super keen on like having to pre-order the game like immediately right away, but I'm definitely, it's going to be a day one purchase, whether I have it as a delayed birthday present or just buy the digital code or whatever from the eShop like at some point in advance. I'm not incredibly worried about getting the game. I was trying to look at getting the amiibos, and as Barry pointed out, it was like only 2 minutes and definitely didn't make it in time for that. So really hope it's not something cool where it like actually like does something, gives you a power up or whatever, and hope it stays more to the cosmetic side where you maybe just wear like the fusion suit or like the zero suit or whatever. So
yeah. I didn't get a chance to get the pre-order or the special edition pre-order. It's one of the few that was tempting, but to hear it sold out and immediately, there's no way of me getting that. But it's pretty exciting. I'll definitely be getting the game for sure. I just don't know if I'm going to pre-order it or not. Let's move on because there was a little bit more information shown off. We got to see some content, not a whole lot, but Breath of the Wild 2 was shown off. It's coming out in 2022, and they keep referring to it as the sequel to Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So I don't know if they're actually going to call it 2, if they're going to drop that eventually. But in the press release and as they talk about it, they kind of refer to it as the sequel to Breath of the Wild. So we didn't really see a whole lot, but we saw more than we had before. Barry, what do you think about Breath of the Wild 2?
I felt it was shorter than I kind of wanted it to be. I almost feel like there was some really shocking things about, being in the sky and seeing that scene of him falling. And it looks like, when we first saw Link Between Worlds, the whole scene of him turning flat and like moving on the wall, I was like, oh my God. In this one, it looks like Link turns to water and can like drip through platforms and can also reverse time. So there's a lot of questions I have, but I feel like this was such a small tease and I really wanted to see more. Thought maybe they would give us a title or something like that, but beggars can't be choosers. I think it looks fantastic. I'm, Zelda fan forever, so I will definitely be getting it. And I'm happy we at least have seen something. I think it was just like shocking when he's like, oh, it's been 2 years. And I'm like, wait, that was E3 2019. Oh my God, it's been 2 years since we've seen anything on this game. That's just shocking. Like, where is the time gone?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was really odd. Weird things that weren't explained. It looks like Link has some sort of maybe robot arm. I don't know. Seems to be able to do some stuff with his right arm, and it's got this whole Luke Skywalker thing going on. But we'll see. I guess eventually more information. Greg, are you more pumped about Breath of the Wild 2 because of this teaser, or are you just left with so many questions you don't know what to do?
Definitely left with a lot of questions, but still very excited for it. I mean, it was incredible to finally see additional footage, and I can't wait to see how other sites like Game Explain just breaks down like second by second, and you're like, oh, did you catch this little ability that Link can do, and can you do this? Wow, I really didn't quite see that the first time around. I mean, I already know I'm going to be trying to rewatch the trailer a number of times before the next podcast, so I really liked what I saw and definitely very excited to be exploring more of the skies and trying to see how they're going to be adding a much more up there, and still more questions. Are they still using the same ground area, or is that going to be completely different? Are they only going to use certain parts of it? I mean, there's still lots of unknowns there, but everything looks really cool. It looked like you could still use like stasis and stuff, like they were freezing some of the balls, like a spike ball or whatever, and just can't wait to go exploring through Hyrule again.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's keep moving on. There's a lot of big games that we're going to be talking about tonight. We'll try to get through these. It's been some good time on them, but also keep it moving best we can. So we apologize if the game you haven't that really excites you hasn't been talked about yet, or we don't get to it as much. as well. Like I said, make sure you throw your thoughts in the live chat or the comments, and let us know what you think about a specific game that really excited you from E3 this year. One of the things that kind of we talked about, really wanted, and it actually came through. We're getting a new WarioWare game. So WarioWare Get It Together is coming back, and you actually get to play 2 players this time, which is weird that that's a cool new thing for a WarioWare game. But September 10th is when it's coming, and of course, pre-orders started today. So WarioWare Get It Together, bring a team of characters. I think it's 3 per team into each thing, that each micro game you're playing. Each character has its own abilities, so depending on which character you have, and you get each of those 3 characters are chosen at random when you go into the next micro game, so it can completely change the way the game is played each time. What do you think about this one, Barry?
I have a real strong love relationship with this series, but it's one of those that I haven't played every entry. It's just like some of them have come out where it's just like too many other things, and it kind of, falls to the wayside. And I've been kind of jonesing for a new one, just like when are we going to get a new one? This looks really interesting with the actual character in the micro game playing it, as opposed to just doing whatever, hitting a button or moving to some random character. And I like that each one plays differently, and that you have that on top of the randomness of what micro game you're going to get and the few seconds for you to figure out what to do. You then have the randomness of which character you're going to get thrown out. And I love the fact that it's 2-player now, and it's just, it seems more crazy. And I love that they're still doing a lot of nostalgia Nintendo stuff, especially with 9-Volt. They showed like the Super Mario Land, and then they did in the treehouse, they showed 3 games. They showed like Ice Climbers level. They showed an Animal Crossing level. I forget what the first one they showed was, but I love that. I love seeing the homage that they pay to classic Nintendo in the series, and I can't wait. It's this year. It's been so long. When they did WarioWare Gold on the 3DS, I always felt like that was fine for the 3DS, but that should have been on Switch as well, like something like Sushi Striker, where it's on both systems. I felt that was a missed opportunity, and I felt it was almost placed to die. Like the 3DS was dying, and those games that sold at the end didn't sell well. People had moved on to the Switch, and I felt like you're literally putting it out to pasture. Like, can we get this WarioWare Gold on Switch? It'll strive a little bit better. So now I'm happy this is here, but I also wouldn't hate if they're like, hey, we're doing a WarioWare Gold, poured over. I would be happy with that too.
Yeah. Greg, what do you think?
As with Barry, I haven't really played too many games in the series, and it's definitely more of like a somewhat recent one. I caught like some of the like last few ones, like the Smooth Moves on Wii, and also the DIY on DS were pretty much the only 2 that I've played. I think there was one we got in the Ambassador Collection or something like that, where you got like a free WarioWare game at some point, and I had played that a little bit, but pretty much that is my main experience with the series, and definitely was looking forward to playing this. This was one of the ones that my daughter was really excited to see, and it's like, oh, there's a game starring Wario, and like, I could have sworn like Smooth Moves was 2 players though. I thought I remember playing that with my wife quite a lot, but maybe
It's not a fully 2-player game. Like, there's some aspects of it that are multiplayer.
Okay.
And I think because Smooth Moves was Wii, is that correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that
I
was
think
Wii.
it was a rotating chair kind of thing. I think so. You could have like
Okay,
8
that's
players playing,
probably
but
what it was.
the next player up, it just told you who it is, and you passed the Wii remote on to that person, and they jumped in the hot seat.
Okay, that's where I'm getting confused. I'm like, I could have sworn I felt like it was multiplayer. Like, and they're saying this is like the first multiplayer game. I'm like, did I hear that right?
Well, this is
But yeah, I
both.
guess
The first time 2 at a time.
Yeah.
And you would think that would have been kind of
Right.
done by now, at least on the, at least the home console side.
I think
Obviously, with like 3DS, you can't really do 2 players without passing the system, but
yeah.
or like local play.
I think it's been tough, I guess, by the way they've done the micro games in the past. Like, to do that multiplayer is like someone is going to have to be waiting on the other player or something. So it's just an interesting dynamic of how they do that game, and so I think it's made it tough for multiplayer or simultaneous multiplayer.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, yeah. probably definitely looking forward to this one. It looks fun as heck, and just echo pretty much what Barry says. I love when they pay homage to other series and stuff like that too. So that's what I've come to see in the Wii version and the DIY. So definitely
Cool.
appreciate it.
Cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing it as well. And yeah, those are fun games to even get a group over, even if you do have to pass the remote around. Um, Moving on, Mario plus Rabbids. We're getting a new Mario plus Rabbids game, Sparks of Hope. Mario and his friends team up with the Rabbids again, of course, to restore order to the galaxy and explore more planets. And you get to actually walk around this time and not stuck to the grid a little bit. So there's a little more freedom. This game is coming out sometime in 2022, and that's about all we really know. I think it's been shown off a little bit more since then, but that's kind of the basic idea of Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. Go back to you, Greg. I know you're a big fan of the original. Are you pumped for this one?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. I jumped on the first one way too late. I mean, I was initially kind of skeptic based on the controls. Then I think I said on a previous podcast, probably even earlier this year, that I finally got around to playing it, and it was a lot of fun. And now I'm definitely going to be revisiting that just to kind of get more up to speed. So it's definitely really cool to see like they're adding new characters like Rosalina and everything. So I'm definitely excited, and this will definitely more be a sooner than later pickup this time around.
Nice, nice. Barry, what's your thoughts about new Mario and Rabbids?
I loved the first game. 100%ed it, and I really enjoyed the DLC as well. I'm looking forward to this one. However, this one, it really depends on when it comes out. And what I mean by that is the first one was an early game for the Switch. And it came out before Mario Odyssey. It was a launch year. And there wasn't a lot of games coming out at that point. So I was like, all right, it's out. This is the only game really I care about for the foreseeable few weeks. So I'm going to put my heart into this and I'm going to play it and I'm going to enjoy it. Now there's so many games coming out that it's really like you really have to pick and choose what gets your attention. And there are some games that I absolutely want to play that have fallen by the wayside, like new Pokemon Snap. I've yet to play. And it's not because I don't want to play; it's just because there's so many other things taking my attention away. So this is not going to be necessarily a top priority game. I'm getting it absolutely, and I do want to play it, but it depends on what it comes out around and if I'll get the time to really sink into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think I'm gonna probably pass on this one as well. I wasn't a huge fan of the gameplay, like that style of game for the first one, so that never really excited me. But it seems fun. Love that they're able to revisit the franchise and see what they build over time on this. But the first one was a huge hit, so I'm guessing this one is probably going to sell a lot as well. Moving on, we got to see a lot more of Shin Megami Tensei 5, which I know a lot of our fans were pretty excited. The fans of the game, our listeners were really excited about seeing that, chatting about it on our Discord already. Yeah, you play these characters. You play in a demon-infested world this time, and lots of talking with demons, try to bring them over to your side, and you can combine demons together, and a bunch of other stuff about Shin Megami Tensei that I don't really know about, but the gameplay that I saw looked pretty cool. Barry, I know you're a really big fan of this series. What'd you think after seeing more of 5?
I think it looks great. As a Persona fan as well, it strikes a lot of the same chords, and it's great to see the 3D free roaming. It looks beautiful. Really, their stories are, often bizarre. It's more bizarre on like the SMT side of it than the Persona side of it, but just really cool RPGs. And that's, mentioning other things like Nocturne came out again on the Switch, and I wanted to put time into that, and I haven't even opened that one yet either. So this is one of those where if you like RPGs and you like a lot of the Pokemon aspect, because there's a lot of the creature capturing and the fusing. And I love the way that you get creatures, and it's like that in Persona 2. It's not just throw a Pokeball, oh, RNG got me. You have to convince them. You either give them gifts or you have to talk to them the right way. Or in some cases, you tell them no in this one and they say, no, I still want to come with you. So it's almost like a puzzle. How do you recruit? And then, of course, you could fuse and get more powerful on ones. And it's just a lot to it. The weakness element is very old school Final Fantasy. So if this is your forte, I'd definitely say give it a shot. But I'm excited for it.
Cool. Greg, what about you?
I've actually never played a Shin Megami Tensei game before, and this one certainly has me interested to give it a shot. But as Barry was alluding to, like Kevin, there's just so many games to play. I don't know if I'll get a chance to actually try it out or not. I mean, it depends on how many like other games are coming out around that time and other things going on. So I would like to get it, but I don't know if I'll have the time to play it. It looks beautiful. It sounds fun. I've always been interested in that turn-based stuff and really like that aspect of the recruiting. So that does seem like it would be a game right up my alley.
Yeah, probably. Comes out on November 12th. So, yeah, maybe it's a game you play around Thanksgiving.
Right around Pokemon, which is hilarious.
Oh, that's true.
That's when the Pokemon games are coming out.
That is true. Well, another game that's going to be coming out a month later is something that I think a lot of us had wanted, myself not included in this. I'm just going to put myself in there already. I was not a huge fan of this. It's that style of game. However, there is a gigantic following for Advance Wars, and Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp is going to be coming out on December 3rd. And yeah, it's going to be bringing everything back in. They're building it basically from the ground up for both games for Nintendo Switch. And yeah, like I said, December 3rd. Greg, what do you think about Advance Wars coming back?
I'm definitely happy to see that it's coming back, because I'm probably one of the few people that have missed the first ones the first time around, and this is basically the same thing as Fire Emblem, so I already know that this is something that I'm going to enjoy, and definitely looking forward to finally getting a chance to play these games.
Nice. Barry, how about you? You're a big Advance Wars fan, aren't you?
I'm not a big SRPG fan. Advance Wars is one of those that when it came out, I didn't play, but I had a friend in high school when we were in college, and he used to play it. And when the DS came out, I got Dual Strike, and I played that one, and I did enjoy it. But it's still not like the kind of game I gravitate towards. However, I was super excited to see it announced, because I know there's a ton of fans that wanted to see it. And it's one of my predictions, actually, a dormant IP coming back in some form, and it is definitely a dormant IP. And I still find it fascinating that it's still called Advanced Wars, considering that, in Japan, the whole series is just called Wars, because it's whatever system it's on, the Famicom Wars, and the only reason it was called Advanced Wars is because it came out in the Game Boy Advance.
They should call it Switch Wars.
That's what it should be called, Switch Wars.
Yeah. Although I guess that because it's Advance Wars 1 and 2, it makes sense. But maybe the next one would be Switch Wars.
Well, in the DS, they kept it going with Advance Wars.
That's true, I guess. So, yeah. Because, simple minds over here in North America, I guess.
Well, yeah, I mean, they do that all the time. I mean, Game of Thrones was a thing for 8 seasons, but it was a different book each different season. So instead of changing the name, they just blanketed with the original name.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Well, another quick thing. I don't know if you guys have heard, but Zelda turned 35 this year, and just like Mario got a Game & Watch, Zelda's also getting Game & Watch. It's gonna be out on November 12th, and going to contain Legend of Zelda, Zelda 2: The Adventures of Link, and Link's Awakening as well, the Game Boy version of Link's Awakening, all on the cartridge, not the cartridge, the unit itself, and along with that, it's going to get a playable version of Vermin with Link as the main character, or I think the only character really in that, and also the playable timer and all the other stuff that Game & Watches do. Going to be available for a suggested retail price of $49.99, just like the Mario one. And we'll see if they actually have tons of stock left over like the Mario one or not. I heard that the Mario one just got discounted because there's like 50 on every shelf out there still. I'm glad I was able to return all my stock and actually because I thought I'd be selling them on eBay, but I did not. But anyway, Barry, what do you think about this? Any thoughts around Game and Watch?
I mean, I love it just as like a collector standpoint. I do have two of the Mario ones. I bought one to open, one to keep sealed, and I haven't even touched it yet due to time. So I got two Zelda ones as well to go with them, and I just love them as little novelty things. I think it's really nice. I would love to see them continue to do this with all their IPs as they hit anniversaries. It is a Metroid anniversary, so I wouldn't hate to see them do one with like Metroid and Metroid 2, Samus Returns, and stuff like that. I think that'd be really cool. But yeah, I think it's just neat.
Nice. Jakester says his Walmart still has 5 of the Mario ones. I'm pretty sure. I think ours has more than that. Our Best Buy had even more. I saw that the other day. So, Greg, what do you think about the Zelda coming to Game Watch?
Definitely love it. I already have mine pre-ordered and can't wait to be playing around with it later. I'm glad they upped the game and have 3 games on there instead of 2 from Mario. So they could easily had like Mario 2 and 3 on the Mario version, but this time they're actually putting in a few more Zelda games. So that's definitely appreciated and can't wait to have it as a pretty much a collector's purpose, not really to play it as much.
Yeah, absolutely.
They could have done Mario Land 1 and 2 as well. But I think the biggest missing piece, especially on these first 2, is that there is a Super Mario Brothers Game & Watch game, and there is a Legend of Zelda Game & Watch game. And why aren't those included?
Good point. I don't know.
Just seems like a no-brainer to me.
Nintendo. That's all I got to say.
Those aren't part of the anniversary. What do you want? Like the Wands of Gamelon on here too?
No, but difference is Wand of Gamelon is a light Nintendo license, but they didn't make the game. Nintendo did make the original Game & Watches.
I know. I'm just trying to pick it apart.
That's a separate Game & Watch. They gotta make more money. Speaking of making more money, sometimes Nintendo has some things that we think would all make sense as DLC, and then they release it as another full price game, like Mario Party Superstars. Yeah. So great idea, great thing. They're bringing back some of the best 100 of the best mini games from the Nintendo 64 era of Mario Party, and can all be played online. Great stuff. 5 classic boards, all these things. Mario Party Superstars as a separate game, not as DLC for Super Mario Party. It's coming out on October 29th. Barry, what do you think about this one?
I'm fine with it not being DLC at this point. Super Mario Party is old enough that it's fine to start a new one. I think this looks like a lot of fun. I love the N64 games, just as long as that damn game where you're on a bicycle trying to pedal to turn on a light bulb so the boo doesn't get you isn't there. None of those rotating, because I can't take those blisters in the middle of my hands anymore. But I do kind of find it baffling that they go through all this work to get the 100 mini games, which is great, but only 5 boards from Mario Party 1 to 3. I mean, I could see even 6, like 2 from each, like some kind of even distribution. But why 5? Like, I feel like they could have done a few more.
Well, they got so much positive comments and feedback about how Super Mario Party only had a few boards, so they thought, people want less boards.
well, Super Mario Party had 4 boards, so this time they said, you want more boards, we're going to give you one more. But like I said, even 6, I could accept 6 if it was 2 per game. That would make sense. That's an even distribution between the 3 games. But as it stands, one game is going to have, at least one game is going to only have 1 board. It could be 3 from 1 and then 1 and 1, or 2, 1, 2, or whatever. So I don't know. I just feel like it's that's a little short-sighted, and you know what? At this point, if there's some DLC, I hope they do more of the older boards on this game.
Yeah, they might. Greg, what do you think about not Super Mario Party Superstars?
Yeah, they just like to throw that super anywhere on their title. Super Mario Party. Um, definitely has my daughter very interested. It's also really nice to see they're finally going back to form on the original formula and to update the old boards. But as you guys are saying, like, why 5? Why can't we have 10? Why not just redo all the boards from those 3 games? I mean, why can't we have Mario Party Ultimate here? I mean, like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And it does say it's 100 games across the entire series. So that means you'll get games from like Mario Party 8 or Super Mario Party, whatever, in there as well.
That's true.
I almost wonder if they're just repackaging the top 100 and just like, oh, there's your 100 games. We already did those. So like,
oh yeah, I'm sure it is the top 100 games. I'm sure that's exactly the mini games they picked.
Yeah,
I would be very shocked if it wasn't.
That's true. I didn't even catch that it was. I just assumed that it was also Nintendo 64 games for the mini games, but that's not what it says. Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely interesting and kind of seems kind of lazy, but unfortunately, I'll probably be diving into this one as well. So the online play with anyone is finally great to have this time around, because even though they updated Super Mario Party, it was like only with friends. So that doesn't really bode well if you're just looking for a random match. So it's finally nice to be able to do an actual random match now.
Right. Sorry about my shocked look a second ago. I just read that Jakesters still never played any Mario Party games. That's a shocker to go through and never play Mario Party. Wow.
I think this is time for Barry to issue his homework assignment.
I think so. That's a whole lot easier of an assignment for sure.
Jake's just at least played Xenoblade, so he gets a pass.
I know that's a lot more difficult to pull off, and he's still not played Mario Party. That's surprising. Well, we got a lot to cover, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go just throw a few games at once, and you guys can talk about what stood out to you. Kind of hit maybe 3 or 4 at a time. We saw more of Monster Hunter Monster Hunter Stories 2: Wings of Ruin. We also saw that Life is Strange: True Colors is coming to Switch on September 10th. Monster Hunter Stories 2 is coming July 9th. We've known about that game already, but July 9th. Free demos coming on in June 25th. And not only is True Colors coming out, Life is Strange Remastered Collection is also coming out later this year on Switch. So Monster Hunter Stories 2 and all the Life is Strange news. What'd you think, Greg? Any of those really stand out to you?
Not really a whole lot. I didn't really know too much about Life is Strange, and I'm probably gonna have to re-watch it, but it was definitely not something that really stuck out to like want to have to get. Monster Hunter, I'm kind of had passed on the series since I tried it on Wii U, so not super strong there. And Super Monkey Ball did look kind of interesting I've never played any of those games. It might be interesting to try to catch around with the collection to see what I missed out on. It just kind of looks like that Mario Galaxy board where you're just riding the star on the top of the ball the whole time. So hopefully it's much better than that.
Nice. Well, Greg also threw it in Super Monkey Ball.
Yeah,
so
I was gonna say,
I didn't
hear
that
you
in
say
there.
that.
Sorry, it's all right. Super Monkey Ball,
Sorry, I was
Banana
just
Mania.
to Jake's turn. I assumed you went to 4 games down.
Yeah, it's a collection of 300 of the levels and mazes, 12 mini games over Super Monkey Ball games. Another collection, but new Monkey Ball also. So of Monster Hunter, Life is Strange, Monkey Ball, what do you think, Barry?
Well, I will say I think it absolutely should be a requirement that you play a Life is Strange game. I was so excited to see this announcement. I was shocked that these games were never on the Switch. I did that marathon last year, and now it's one of those where I was like, oh, our best of games of the year is going to be pretty simple. I've got some stuff, but I won't have to worry about Life is Strange. Now I actually have to consider Life is Strange for this year. I think the remaster collection is fantastic. You're getting the first game in Before the Storm. That whole storyline like grips you. Like, it is so good, and it is absolutely one of those games you really deserve to try. If you enjoy any type of story-based game, any type of emotional game, any type of game that really makes you make the hard decisions and live with the consequences, it is absolutely worth it. True Colors looks phenomenal. I love the idea of the empathy. I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to fit into this world, and I'm wondering if Don't Nod is actually going to bring the second game over now, because Deck 9 is doing these, because it kind of feel weird not having Life is Strange 2 with Captain Spirit as well. But yes, Life is Strange 100%. I'll be getting it to support it. I won't be playing it again, but I will be planning on playing True Colors later this year. Monster Hunter Stories 2. I never played the first one, but this looks good. If time allows me to, I plan to play it. Otherwise, it'll probably just sit on the shelf. And Monkey Ball, Monkey Ball is college. Monkey Ball 1, Monkey Ball 2, total college for me. I absolutely love it. I can't wait to see these courses again and replay through these courses. The mini games, I pray they give us Monkey Ball 1 Target. If they give us Monkey Ball 1 Target, that's the only game you need for parties. Like, hands down, that was such a good game, and then they ruined it with the second game and onwards, where they kept butchering Monkey Target. If you've never played Monkey Ball, it's nothing like the Mario Galaxy where you're on the stage. You have way more control. It's a lot more fun. It's very hard as it goes onward, but it's a totally different beast than those levels. Don't
sure.
use those levels as a basis at all.
Yeah. Yeah, and don't use the recreation of Banana Blitz as
No.
as a basis either. Yeah, Monkey Ball 1 2 were so great.
So great.
So great. And yes, Monkey Target for sure. Hours over and over and over
Hours.
again. Yeah. Yeah. I've never played Life is Strange as well. I'm excited to see it come to Switch. Is one of those series that I really didn't think was ever going to make it. I thought they're just going to leave it on the other systems and that's it. And so I was excited to see it come to Switch. However, at this point, I think if I'm going to play a Life is Strange game, I'm not going to play it on Switch. I'm gonna probably play it on Xbox or something like that, just because it's a better system. But really cool to hear those games coming over. Banana Mania, I need to see more of it to see how they're actually gonna put it together and everything. But yeah. Probably interested, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Moving on. Oh yeah, Monster Hunter. We've talked about before. Not enough time for me. Danganronpa S Ultimate Summer Camp will be coming out later this year, and then Decadence is going to be coming out also later this year. And Decadence, that's the collection, right? Am I getting that correct?
Well, Decadence is a physical only with all 4 games, and then digitally will be all 4 games separately.
Gotcha.
So S is in Decadence as well.
Oh, okay. So S Ultimate Summer Camp is a part of Decadence. Okay.
With 1, 2, and V3, yes.
Gotcha. Okay. So cool. So I actually had never heard of those games before. So that was a big thing for me. Shocker for Barry, but I've never heard of him. So I need to look into it more. It's all because I'm not a huge fan of the visual novel genre. So there's probably tons and tons of games that fall into that category that I've never heard of before. But those games are coming out along with Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity expansion pass. We found out a little more information on Wave 1 and 2, and also more information about Mario Golf Super Rush and The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD. So a lot of games, Danganronpa games that are already been out before, but just coming over to Switch. Hyrule Warriors, Mario Golf, Skyward Sword HD, we've already known about, just showed off more information. Mario Golf's going to be coming out in just a couple days. So what did you think about all of these? Barry, I know you're excited about Danganronpa, so we'll let you go first.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a series that I've wanted to play for a long time. And this year I finally said, all right, I'm going to start my marathon. And I've done the first 2 games. And I actually put in V3 to play. And then I realized, I need to play Ultra Despair Girls and actually watch an anime, because V3 is the 3rd game, but it's also kind of the 4th game. And it's not actually a conclusion. It's like extra. So the real ending to 1 and 2 is actually in an anime, which is why they call this V3. But I'm in the middle of Ultra Despair Girls right now, and I'm loving that. And that's not included. I don't know why that's not included. That one's actually a shooter. It's a third-person shooter, like Resident Evil kind of deal. It's very, very tonally different than the others. But yes, if you've never played Danganronpa, you again owe it to yourself. It is one of those where there's no decisions. Like there's decisions, but none of them really matter in the sense of it's not like you can do anything to prevent what happens. Like the story is on rails, you were going from beginning to end, but it's really cool because you're stuck in this situation and it's all murder mysteries. Someone winds up getting killed and you got to figure out why. You got to go through the evidence. You got to go through these trials and find flaws in people's evidence, because the idea is if you convict somebody and you're wrong, they're not the killer, everybody else dies, including you, but the killer. But if you convict the killer dies and everyone gets to continue living. And it's really, really interesting because you're stuck in this situation and there's like a murder mystery on top of a mystery on like what's going on, why are you even in this situation, and absolutely well worth playing. So if you have it on the systems, you can play it on PlayStation, but it's not like graphically, stressing. So absolutely can play on the Switch and on the go. So definitely look into these if you're interested in these type of things. Look at reviews. I mean, the game's been out, but I 100% recommend it. Skyward Sword, awesome Zelda, but there is one thing that looks concerning, which someone brought to my attention on Twitter, and it appears, and I hope it's wrong, it appears if you play docked, you have to play with Joy-Cons. You can't play with a Pro Controller, and that to me is a no. Like, you should, if you could play handheld with using the analog stick, you should be able to play with a Pro Controller. You shouldn't be forced into using one control method when they've already designed the game to work with the second control method. So like kind of like Pokemon Let's Go, it forced you to use a Joy-Con when in docked versus when you were handheld, it played differently. So I'm hoping it's not like that, because that to me is a kind of WTF moment. So I guess we'll see. Hyrule Warriors, I loved Age of Calamity, 100% of that game. The DLC looks great, but I don't have the time right now to play it. So maybe after the DLC Pack 2 is out, I'll get around to it. But if you like Hyrule Warriors, I obviously recommend that a lot.
Cool. Throw my thoughts in real quick. Skyward Sword, yeah, that's weird. Hope that's not the case. I got it on Wii. I could play it on there. I'm not that excited about having it in HD. And Age of Calamity, I still need to finish the main game, so maybe eventually I'll get to the expansion passes. But Mario Golf, I'm pretty excited about, and the Danganronpa games, cool. Happy for
Mario
you.
Golf.
Happy for everybody else.
I'm not a golf fan, so
Yeah.
Mario Golf is I forgot about, but yeah, it looks good, but not for me.
Yep. Yeah, I thought there was something else, but I guess not. Yeah, Greg, what do you think about any of those games?
Yeah, Mario's golfing outings has usually been my lowest in the totem pole on the sports games, so it does look kind of cool. My daughter was kind of interested in that speed golf section, so it probably might get a borrow from the library just to finally say I've tried a Mario Golf game. So that's pretty much it for there. That stuff on Skyward Sword does sound very concerning if that's gonna be the case. I really hope they don't stoop to that low to make you play in handheld just to use non-motion controls. That's not how I envisioned replaying Skyward Sword. I've already done that on Wii, and I wouldn't want to do that on Switch. So might not even be playing it if that's the case, but probably still picking it up because I would like a cleaner version of it, and my Wii also died. So,
That's too bad.
Age of Calamity. I've finally just started playing it pretty much within the last month or so. So I'm definitely not nowhere near as far as Steve. I'm still early story, so definitely looking forward to playing through that more, and possibly picking up the pass if I'm still excited to be playing it like at the end of this year. And just like you, Steve, the Danganronpa games, never really heard of them or knew anything about them, but the way Barry described them, it does sound pretty interesting. I might like them, but then again, it's all comes down to a time thing. There's so many games I would love to play, but I might not just have the time to play them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've always felt like this is a little tangent, but with the visual novels, especially when you don't have any choice in the game, like why can't I just like watch someone else play it and save my money?
Oh, you have choices. What I mean is there are some visual novels like the Zero Escape games where you have to do multiple playthroughs, and like you take the knowledge from one playthrough into another playthrough, and it allows you to do different decisions. And the Danganronpa games, they have that a little bit, but it's mainly like when I first played it and the first person got killed, I'm like, all right, I'm probably gonna have to beat this game, and then I'm gonna have to come back and save it so that everyone can live, like the happy ending. No, there is none. Like people die, they will die. Like that's it. And it's one of those cases where you wish all you could do is really get to know people, and then if you get to know them better, you get skills that you can use in the crime scenes. But that's like playing the Phoenix Wright games and saying like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna save this person from murder because I know what's gonna happen. No, you can't. People, so there is a really cool story and there's a really cool premise, and it's you get a lot of choices in the crime scene area. You have to, like, it is a real puzzle game if you like puzzle games and deducing logic and figuring things out. And like a lot of the cases are you go into it like this person's the killer, and by the end of it, when you find out who the killer, you've had 8 other suspects in between the person you thought and then that one, because all the crimes are done in a way that sets everybody up can be a suspect. And that's what's really cool. They're really ingeniously done. So
Right.
you will have fun doing that if that's your cup of tea, if you like that kind of mystery.
Okay. Makes sense. Well, moving
I
on.
do recommend try the first game.
Okay.
At least try the first game.
Cool. Well, there's still a lot to cover, so we're going to hit several again. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 been rumored for a while. It's officially coming on June 25th. Just Dance 2022, big surprise. None of us saw that coming. It's going to be hitting Switch on November 4th. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy is coming on October 26th. That is a cloud version of that game, so you're going to have to be streaming that. So hopefully you have good internet to do that. Also, 2 Point Campus is a funny, charming, quirky world of 2 Point County, and it's a management sim. So you're going to like have to build and run your own university the way you want it. So 2 Point Campus comes on Switch later this year. So Tony Hawk, Just Dance, Guardians of the Galaxy, 2 Point Campus. What do you think, Barry?
I love Tony Hawk. I actually replayed the 1 and 2 on PS4 because I'm like, oh yeah, it should come to Switch, but it's not. So I really had a lot of fun with it, and I do recommend it. I mean, that was again part of my high school, Tony Hawk. Just Dance. My wife likes Just Dance, so I mean, I'll be getting it for the set, but she might actually play that. Guardians of the Galaxy looks like a lot of fun, and again, it's definitely one of those. If I had time, I'd probably give it a shot. The fact that it's a cloud version means I'm not getting it for the Switch because there won't be a physical. And I was shocked when it was shown off. Like, is this really going to be on the Switch? Like, holy crap! I did not expect this. Now it makes more sense. And 2 Point Campus. I've heard good things about 2 Point Hospital, but I've never played it. So
Nice. How about you, Greg?
Never really been a Tony Hawk fan. Never really been into skateboarding, so it's an easy pass for me. Just Dance, probably another pass. I mean, played a few entries on Wii, but it's nothing we're super attached to, so it's probably not anything we'll be getting. Guardians of the Galaxy, the streaming thing sounds not very good, so I don't know, probably not be doing that one. And 2 Point Campus did sound kind of intriguing, like just kind of managing like a whole university and everything. So we'll have to see on that. I don't know how much I'll want to put into that, but that seems like it'd be a super time intensive game to be designing your own university and then maintaining it.
Yeah, just like real life. I want to escape from real life. Not that we get a chance to run universities in real life, but
what are you talking about? I do.
all the time. You're like running partial a game publishing company, doing this, all these other things, building your own museum, and I run a university on the side as well.
You haven't heard of
Yeah, and
Barry University? Come on.
I also own my entire island and have to design that.
That's
and
right.
Put trees where I want them to go.
Saving the world every time I turn around. Rescuing princesses.
Now there's a game
Yeah.
where I can build my own games.
Yeah. Now I'm a game developer. Yeah. Jakester says that he has no interest in Tony Hawk Campus or Just Dance. Guardians almost got him, but he doesn't have good internet for the cloud version. Yeah, I'm kind of with all of you guys. Like Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2, it's cool. I really don't get into the fact that they bring these back in HD. Again, if I'm going to play a new version of it, I'm probably going to get it on Xbox because it's going to look better than it is on Switch. And I haven't yet. And so I'm probably not going to. We'll see if I get
It's for the people who don't have an Xbox, like Greg.
No, that's absolutely true, and I'm happy for them. It's cool. I'm just saying, I'm not going to be getting it, but it's cool that it's coming back because Pro Skater is awesome. Yeah, 2 Point Campus doesn't interest me at all. Just Dance, we'll see. I get one every few years, so this might be the one I get. And Guardians of the Galaxy, hopefully they do a little trial of it like they do with the other cloud games, and we'll see how it goes. And I don't know, but again, if I get it, I'll probably be on another system. But excited for those people that don't have those other systems, and they can get it on there. All right, moving on. We're gonna several games that are like totally random and not even close to the same kind of genre, but Worms Rumble is coming to a Switch. 32-player cross-platform combat. It's coming on June 23rd. If you're unfamiliar with Worms, it's kind of this turn-based like shooting back and forth. There's so much more built into Worms now, but originally it was like, you pick your angle and your trajectory and you shoot back and forth, and now it's like this huge 32-player daily challenges, battle modes, all these different things that you can get into the game. So Worms is officially coming to Switch. Fatal Frame, Maiden of Black Water, is coming to Switch on later this year. They didn't really tell us when, but later this year. So Fatal Frame returns. Cruisin' Blast is an exclusive for Switch. That's this fall. So if you're familiar with the cruising games, arcade racing games, and then Doom Eternal gets DLC Raise Hell, and that will be available today. Actually, it's already out. So completely random, not connected games at all. Worms, Fatal Frame, Cruisin', Doom. But what do you think about these games? Let's go to you first, Barry.
These ones are cool. I mean, Worms is a classic franchise. I just probably won't play Rumble. Fatal Frame is the most boggling one for me. I'm super happy it came. Another Wii U port, hopefully physical this time. What boggles me is the fact that it's also coming to other systems. And why that boggles me is last reports I've seen, Nintendo co-owns the IP with Koei Tecmo. So either Nintendo said, you know what, you can go ahead and do it. We'll allow you to do it because we have this great working relationship, like with Hyrule Warriors and Fire Emblem Warriors and all that. Or Nintendo sold the IP rights back to Koei Tecmo. I really want to know the story, and I hate that this stuff isn't public knowledge because I'm just really curious. It's like the rights to Wonderful 101. Does Nintendo still own any of that, or did they sell it back to Platinum? Was the fact that they allowed it, the PS4 version to come as a gift, as a good grace? I don't know, but I really want to know. But I'm really happy for Fatal Frame fans. Never thought it would happen. Cruisin' Blast looks like one I want to play, and I'm really hoping that comes physically. But I'm have this dread that it's going to be a digital only game, because I love the cruising games, and this just looks like a fun arcade racer.
Nice. Yeah, I'm just hoping
And
Cruisin'
there's
Blast
Doom Eternal too, right?
Yeah, Doom Eternal DLC.
Yeah. I have no interest in Doom Eternal. So good for those that like it, not for me.
Yeah. Not enough to get DLC for me. Cruisin', I'm just hoping it's not one of those like cheap knockoff like mobile versions of the arcade racers. They actually make a solid cruising game. I'll be excited. So yeah, Fatal Frame I'm just boggled by, like you are, and Worms Rumble, we'll see. I like the idea for sure, and it's cool that it's coming to Switch. Greg, what do you think?
I don't think Worms Rumble is the thing for me, so that's probably be a pass. Fatal Fatal Frame, it's just like you guys. It's just great for the fans out there, and interesting to see another Wii U exclusive being brought back on Switch. Cruise and Blast does seem like it could be kind of fun. My daughter kind of was interested to see a different style of racing game, so that might be another one to get from the library to check it out. And never really been a huge fan of Doom, so that's DLC with another pass.
Nice. All right, last three: Dragon Ball Z, Kakarot. Plus a new Power Awakens set, so you can be able to play through, relive the story of Goku and the other Z fighters, action RPG, and you can be played through 4 sagas and face off against all the iconic foes, of course. And then you got the boss battle episodes. A New Power Awakens Part 1 and 2 are also included, and it's going to be on the Switch on September 24th. And then Strange Brigade is a third-person adventure that allows you to blast through an army of mummified monstrocytes while solving perilous puzzles in a booby-trapped ruins. So there you go. That came out today. And Astria Ascending. Astria Ascending also was shown off briefly and is coming out on September 30th. I honestly don't even remember what that game was about. They covered it so quick. I think I even missed it in the live tweeting because I couldn't figure out how to spell Astria, and they'd already moved on to the next game by the time I figured it out. Yeah, Dragon Ball, Strange Brigade, Astria Ascending. Greg, what do you think?
Dragon Ball, haven't really watched that at all, so that's most likely a pass for me. I know Barry likes to shake his head all the time when I say those kinds of sentences, so. But at least I'm on Steve's side this time around, so I have some backup on my opinion. Strange Brigade, I honestly just watched like another trailer just to kind of refresh my mind. That one doesn't really look like it's my style of game. I don't really like the live action combat kind of puzzle solving and necessarily having a lot of online friend stuff and going on with that. And then for that Astria Ascending, I also had to take a quick refresher at that one as well. This one does look a little bit more up my alley, a traditional RPG with turn-based combat and stuff. So that one, it kind of has like a Bravely default like combat system where if you like hit with like a weak point, then you get multiple attacks and everything. So I might have to give that one a later shot to see more about it. So that pretty much it for me on those.
Nice. Barry, I know you're not a big fan of Dragon Ball, so you can talk about the other couple games if you want.
No, well, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot's one of those that I was debating getting when it came out on PS4 and Xbox, and I heard mixed things. And again, time. So I do have them now on the systems when I got them for like $10 at like a Black Friday. Bandai Namco was doing a sale last year, but I haven't played them. I don't know if I'll play the Switch version versus the others. I mean, I've seen through the 4 main sagas so many times now through the games and through the movies. Like, I just want new content, so I probably won't play it. Plus, I can tell I would get lost in that world, so I probably don't want to do that. Strange Brigade is one that doesn't really appeal to me. However, I looked it up. It has like a 73 on Metacritic and a 9 out of 10 on Steam. So I'm like, oh, wow, you know what? This game seems to be really good, positively reviewed. So way to go, Nintendo, for getting this on your system. And Astria Ascending was like a sleeper hit for me on the show. Like I saw that, I was like, well, this looks beautiful. Like this looks like a lot of fun. I'm hoping it gets a physical, or because I think that could be a really great game that's going to be overlooked, unfortunately.
Yeah, I definitely have to look more into it. Like I said, it was so quick in the direct that I totally forgot about it. And moved on to the other bigger announcements. And yeah, I think the other games aren't that exciting for me really either. So cool that they're coming out. And I obviously know lots of people are going to be excited about Dragon Ball. I've never gotten into it, so but really cool that it's coming for all those fans, and great that it's one of those versions that all the DLC, I think it seems like from all the previous version of the game plus more is coming, so that's really exciting too. All right. Well, let's move on because there was what, like 10, 12, something other events that happened over the last several days. And
Yes.
like I said, I missed them all. Because I was out of the country and not around good internet. And so I didn't really get a chance to see any of those other events. I've heard some stuff, saw some stuff, saw the list of old games and things that are coming out. I know Greg only got to catch a couple of these as well. So Barry, lead us through the rest of these events, and we'll share some thoughts in there, like we've looked at the games, we know what's coming out, so we'll share where we can, share our opinions and everything. Again, those of you guys that are listening live, let us know what you think in the live chat, but also after the fact in the comments. We'd love to know what your thoughts are about the Nintendo Direct and all these other events as well. So Barry, let's kick this off with the rest of these, like 47 events. It turned from 10 to 12 down to 47. I don't know. We'll see.
All right. So the way we're going to do this is I'm going to talk about a little bit about the event. I'm going to talk about the games that are coming to the Switch, and we'll talk about those games, what excites us, and then after we can talk about any of the other games shown off that we want to, make note of. Maybe we'll be lucky and they'll come to the Switch later on. So 2 days before E3 even started, there was the Summer Game Fest Spectacular World Premiere Showcase, which is Jeff Keighley's show. And there were a few Switch games shown during this period. This was on June 10th. So we had Among Us has new content coming. 2 Point Campus, which was then, of course, later shown off at the Nintendo Direct. Rocket League has Fast and Furious cars coming. A game called Sky, the Little Prince season. Monster Hunter Stories 2, Wings of Ruin, was shown off again. And Fall Guys was shown off getting a 2B skin. 2B, of course, from Nier. Greg, what do you think of these announcements for the Switch?
Well, Among Us I already have, so I'll probably be playing through those, like the new content there, so that will be something to look forward to there. I already gave thoughts on the 2 Point Campus from the Nintendo Direct, and Monster Hunter Stories 2 as well. Sky, I was trying to find a little bit more stuff about, and I didn't quite get a good synopsis, so I'm probably something I'll have to look through later on before our next episode. And Fall Guys I've already been kind of interested in since it was on other platforms, and it seemed like a kind of fun Fortnite version game that I would actually enjoy with actually other people. So I was probably be planning to pick that one up when it comes out later out this year. Or is it already out? I don't know, but whenever it is.
I think it's coming out soon. Steve, what about you?
Yeah,
I
honestly,
can picture one thing already.
I actually no.
Wow.
I already had the chance to buy, because this is the Rocket League cars are coming back to the game. So like Fast and Furious cars are already out, and I had a chance to buy them the last time they were about, and I didn't then. So this is not that exciting for me that they're coming back. But it totally makes sense with a new movie coming out soon. And Among Us, that's I've kind of lost interest. Fall Guys, it's just another skin, and I have not bought any skins for Fall Guys, so I don't really care. Sky does look interesting though. I'm interested to learn more about Sky.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there. Like Sky seems to be the one of those that interests me the most. The other ones, I mean, Monster Hunter Stories 2 is the only other one that I might actually play if I have the time. But a lot of the other stuff too is shown off in other shows afterwards in Nintendo Direct, so we did talk about them. But it was very light overall on the Switch. Now, of the other games that were shown off, because it was like a 2-hour show, there were some really cool games shown off. Any of those interest you, or would they be like, all right, I would love this if it came to Switch, or play it on another system? Greg?
I'm just kind of looking through. I mean, like Jurassic World seems like it could be potentially kind of fun game. I kind of like Jurassic Park games. So I did really like Turok and stuff. Stranger Things, I was a big fan of the Netflix show, so that might be something to consider as well. I didn't really watch any of the footage, but just going based on the name, so that does sound like something that I might also enjoy as well. But that's pretty much it from what I could tell, just based on the names.
Yeah. And the Stranger
Steve, what
Things
about
thing,
you?
it's actually just is it a crossover with Smite?
It's a crossover with Smite. It's in the game Smite. You get like 11 and Hopper, and then you get like the Demogorgon and the Flare. as characters, and like there's the underground or the upside down map and stuff, but it's in Smite.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think nothing really stands out a whole lot. It's interesting that Overwatch 2, I feel like, keeps getting more and more content. I'm like, are they ever going to come out with Overwatch 3, or is this just going to be the one that we stick with forever? Kind of like Team Fortress. Just 2 became the thing, and that's it for here on out. But yeah, I think that stuff's cool. I finally did try Warzone. I don't know. There's a lot of big fans of the game, but I don't know if it's not my thing. I need to spend more time with it. The rest of these, I don't know. Nothing really jumps out to me, honestly, Barry.
There's nothing wrong with that. For me, the biggest one was Tales of Arise, which I love the Tales of games. So I know that's not coming to Switch. I wish it was, but I will definitely be playing that one. My wife's a big Evil Dead fan, so Evil Dead the game is one that she's interested in. Tunic looks fantastic. I really hope Microsoft brings Tunic over. Zelda, very Zelda inspired. It looks great. There's apparently a new demo. It's apparently difficult, but like it's also forgiving. And the only other one I kind of looked at and was like, it's interesting that it's not coming to Switch, is Salt and Sacrifice, which is made by the people of Salt and Sanctuary, and that is on the Switch. So it's kind of weird that one's not making it over. I know Elden Ring was their big finale. I know a lot of people are crazy for Elden Ring. It's Bandai Namco, From Software, and Game of Thrones writer and all that. But I've had enough of the Souls games, and that's definitely not coming to Switch. So then right after that, it was followed by Day of the Devs, which is a little showcase that's done by Double Fine and I Am 8-Bit. And despite the fact that Double Fine is now owned by Microsoft, it was not exclusively a Microsoft show, although the majority of the games are on Microsoft, the Xbox or the Steam or Windows and stuff like that. But there were 3 games shown off that are actually coming to the Switch. Axiom Verge 2, Garden Story, and Road 96. So let's go with you first, Steve. Any of those interest you?
I need to look more into Axiom Verge, like that whole 1 and 2. It's those games that always stand out to me every time I see it, and I'm like, why haven't I played it yet? In fact, I'm pretty sure I have one, maybe on Switch. Was it also on Wii U? I feel like it was.
Yeah, it was. Yep.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, so I think I have it on Wii U as well, and I may have it on Steam or something too. I think it's one of those games that keeps being thrown in different collections and stuff. So I think of any of those, that's the one that definitely stands out to me, and I need to play the first one probably first before I play 2. But yeah, and that's the one that stands out to me.
Greg?
Yeah, definitely Axiom Verge 2. I did play a good portion of the first one. I didn't actually beat it. It is a game that I would love to go back and actually do beat, but definitely will be picking up that one. The other ones didn't really seem to, like the Garden Story and Road 96, didn't really seem to interest me as much.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. Axiom Verge 2, I loved the first one, so the second one definitely has me excited. The other 2 games, I mean, they look cool, but they're not like up my alley. Were there any other games shown off at Day of the Devs for either of you that like spoke to you, or were there all like nothing that interests you?
Yeah, nothing here.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything from me either, so nothing really stuck out.
The one I will just draw attention to was a game called Last Stop. It's by Annapurna. That looks really interesting. I like the way they're going about doing it. But other than that, a lot of the stuff it was just more games, and it was like, yeah, you know what, this is nothing that totally interests me. But I'm happy that they got some showcase. It's great for them to get in any E3 showing. The next day we had the IGN Expo, where we had some really interesting announcements. More Switch stuff was shown off. Some of the same stuff was shown off as the as Jeff Keighley show, but for the Switch, we have Doki Doki Literature Club Plus, Death's Gambit Afterlife, Big Rumble Boxing Creed Champions, The Forgotten City, Unbound Worlds Apart, Skatebird, Ollie Ollie World, 2 Point Campus again shown off, the Streets of Rage 4 DLC, and Unpacking. So, Greg, any of these speak to you?
Well, it's kind of interesting with that Doki Doki thing. Is that actually related to the Doki Doki Panic from in Japan?
No, it absolutely nothing to do with Doki Doki Panic.
There's so many games called Doki Doki.
Okie dokie.
Yeah, I need to look into the significance of that in Japanese because I see that all the time.
It's probably why
Doki
everything is
Doki
new
Literature
these
Club is
days.
made by an American. It's nothing
I
Japanese
don't
at
think
all.
anything. I don't think really anything stuck out like this time around. I don't remember if Ali Ali World. I know that one definitely rings a bell from a previous like Nindy showcase. I'm trying to remember if that was one of the ones that was on my list or not, but that's pretty much the only one I might be interested in if it's the game I think it is.
Yeah.
And what about you, Steve?
Yeah, I think the Skatebird, Ollie Ollie World, Streets of Rage 4, those are games that definitely stand out to me that we've talked about in previous podcasts. But I think the one that I'm actually a little surprised that is coming to Switch is the Big Rumble Boxing Creed Champions. Just didn't expect that to come to Switch. I think that's also one of those games I'm pretty sure is on the Oculus, and I think if I'm going to play a game like that, I think I've been tempted to get it in VR, and so I think it'd be just a different kind of experience to play it in VR rather than on 2D screen. So if I get it, I think I'm going to slide that way. But yeah, this kind of seemed like the list and everything seemed more like. Yeah, like an indie direct kind of thing that we've had before, and all I think quality games though.
Yeah, for me, the biggest game was Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. I love Doki Doki Literature Club. It is free on Steam. If you have not played it, set aside 2 hours or so to play it. It is a short game. It is fantastic. It's one of those games where you either absolutely love it or it leaves you scarred. Play it though, and go in blind. Do not look up anything, and just keep playing. When you think you beat it, keep playing. You'll know the ending when you beat it. And the fact that when you play through, you will probably ask yourself one question: how the hell is this going to work on Switch? Because I never thought this could be played on anything but a PC, but it's coming to Switch and PS4 and PS5 with new stuff. And this is done by, I think it's one person. Really, really amazing game, and it is a visual novel, but it's unlike other visual novels. Like it's worth the 2 hours to play through this. Another standout game was Death's Gambit Afterlife. It's actually a game that came out in PS4. It was like a GameStop exclusive physically, and now it's coming to the Switch with like a bunch of new stuff. It looks like it's 2D action style game. Looks awesome. Really excited. Skatebird looks kind of cool. Looks like a lot of fun. Old school Tony Hawk style, but I'd rather play Tony Hawk 1 and 2. And I'm with you, Steve, with Creed Champions. I'm really shocked that that's coming over, but I'm happy it's coming over. We need more boxing games.
Absolutely.
Of the rest of the list that you guys have, is there anything there that some of it's repeats, but is there anything that like speaks to you and goes, oh, you know what, that's kind of cool? Greg?
Nothing else from me really stood out. I mean, I would have to do a lot more research on them. Just as we stated, I didn't really watch like this show, so I mean, I would have to even look more into it.
Yeah.
What about you, Steve?
I want all the arcade 1-up cabinets, all of them, especially these. These look great. Like Turtles in Time. I'm gonna get one for Greg. No, I'm not gonna get one. It'd be easier to get you a cartridge because it's a lot cheaper.
Yes.
But yeah, and then the Miss Pac-Man Galaga 81, and then 12 Capcom games in one. That's awesome as well. So yeah, I like has nothing to do with Switch at all, but that's exciting for me. And I probably still won't own any of them, but I want to.
Why the heck are we getting those old Namco games? Like, why aren't we getting Galaga Defender? We don't have that yet, right?
We have a Galaga, yeah.
Galaga.
I don't think Defender's actually been in any of the arcade 1-ups yet.
which is weird.
Yeah, they've got a lot of other ones though. The repackaging of Ms. Pac-Man, Galaga 81 is actually new, but they've got all the other ones already.
Yeah, and like the Capcom games, like the Street Fighter again with a bunch of other like old school Capcom stuff. It's a championship edition too. It looks really cool. I'm with you there. If I had the room, I would have all those arcade one-ups. I just don't have the room. The Sherlock Holmes game actually looked kind of interesting. And Martha is Dead. If you haven't seen that trailer, you should watch that. It's really weird. It's like a woman, like a husband and a woman are happy, and then the husband drowns the woman in the lake, and like you have to like do stuff to appease, and if you appease the spirit, you're fine. Otherwise, she drags you under, and like it looks really creepy. And I don't usually like creepy games, but I think the premise is really interesting. So definitely at least give that a shot. At least the trailer. So then we move on to the official first day of E3, June 12th. And the first thing we actually get is a Wholesome Direct, which is stuff we've actually covered before. Wholesome Direct, a lot of indie titles. I didn't even expect this to be as long as it was, and I didn't expect this many Switch games.
Yeah.
So we're just going to cover the Switch games here. There were a lot of games covered. And there's a lot of indie stuff, but I'm just going to list them quickly. Here's all the Switch games that were shown off during this Wholesome Direct. Bear and Breakfast, Beasts of Maravilla Island, Button City, Dorggon, Dreamland Confectionery, Fire Tonight, Freshly Frosted, Garden Story again shown off, Here Comes Nico, Hoa, Kiwi, Coca-Pola's Atlas, Creature Kind, Lego Builder's Journey, Letters, Mythical Ocean, Please Be Happy, Rainbow Billy, Season Spree, Skatebird again shown off, Snacko, Tassomachi Behind the Twilight, The Gecko Gods, The Magnificent Truffle Pigs, The Outbound Ghost, We Are OFK, Witchery Academy, and Wudo. Or Academy, there we go. I can't speak. Witchery Academy and Wudo. That's a lot of games, and that's like half the games shown off. There were a bunch shown off that were not for Switch. Steve, do any of those catch your interest at all? Did you see any trailers for any of this stuff? I know it's a lot.
It is a lot, and I do want to go back and check these games out. So a quick answer is nothing did, because I haven't seen any of them yet. But a lot of these games they're the style of game that like you need to see and you need to look into a lot of times, because they're not your typical AAA games and stuff like that. And so I need to go back and actually look in depth like on a lot of these for sure. And I love that Silicon Era has the description there. So like that's going to be my kind of go-to, like, okay, this description looks cool. Let's click on it and look more into the game. But that many, it's going to take some time to actually do it. But yeah, I love that like all the wholesome game stuff is like just they're wholesome games.
Yeah.
So which is really cool. And a lot of times, they're totally different kinds of games than you normally see. So yeah, it's hard to know like, oh, will I like that just by a short description? No, I won't know. So I need to look into it. So I don't really have a whole lot to say, but excited about looking into more of them.
All right, what about you, Greg?
Yeah, I definitely echo those same kind of thoughts, Steve. I mean, a number of these do sound familiar from previous like Nindy showcases, like that Bear and Breakfast, and I already knew I didn't really like that one. So, I mean, based on some of these descriptions, it sounds like I could like them, like some of these puzzle platformers and stuff like that. So there's like Hoa and some other ones that fit the bill, but again, it just needs to review the trailers and find out more information before I can make any hardcore guess if it's something that's more worth me to pick up.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, a lot of them are like, especially in a direct like this, you see a trailer and it's moved on immediately to the other. So there's hasn't a lot of time to digest a lot of these. And with E3, so much going on. So there's certain ones I personally will be looking back into. Some that caught my eye when watching Lego's Builder's Journey. It was weird seeing an official Lego game, just like not based on a property again, just in like a more independent style. Looked interesting as a puzzle game. And the Gecko Gods was another one that just, like, I looked at it, I was like, oh, this actually looks really interesting. Playing as a gecko, and it's a platformer, and it just like not like Gex style, but it really brought my attention. So those are two that I'm really excited about, and a lot of the others I do need to go back and look. But it was just like I was shocked at just how many games were coming out in this direct. Like it was like an hour long or something like that, and it just kept coming out. I'm like, wow, like you could have made like 5 directs out of this one. Like holy crap. So good for them. I love to see that. Get some more indie love. But now let's leave indie love. Let's go to Ubisoft, where I'll be honest, Ubisoft Forward on June 12th, I felt was the worst showing out there. Mainly because of the pacing. I felt the pacing was terrible. And the content of games they showed off overall, I thought was not very good. But they did show off 2 Nintendo Switch games, and they're 2 that were also strangely shown in Nintendo's Direct, which I felt maybe they would omit from Nintendo's Direct because they were in Ubisoft's. Nope, Nintendo showed them off as well. It's Just Dance 2022 and Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope were shown off. So I'm going to just briefly, since we've already talked about that, I'm just going to list the other games that were shown off, and we can just talk briefly about it. They showed off Rainbow Six Extraction for an excruciating 16 minutes to start off the show. Rocksmith Plus, where you can actually play guitar and learn guitar. Riders Republic. Rainbow Six Siege has DLC coming. Assassin's Creed Valhalla has DLC coming. Far Cry 6. They ended with Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. And in the middle, they had a little film and TV section for their shows Mythic Quest on Apple TV and a movie coming out called Werewolves Within. Greg, anything on this list that you haven't really talked about yet interest you?
Obviously, the Rocksmith almost seems like it could be kind of interesting. Sounds like Guitar Hero is slowly making its way back around, or Rock Band. I guess it's another genre that they're trying to reboot. That would pretty much just to be about it. Wasn't really big into a lot of Ubisoft's other titles, so I definitely saw like your comments saying how it wasn't like a very good show. I mean, I would have want to watch 16 minutes of Rainbow Six either, so I'm kind of glad I don't have to spend my time on that.
Terrible way to open a show is 16 minutes of a game that your audience may not be interested in.
I mean, I can only imagine like Nintendo's doing like 16 minutes on like a Fire Emblem game to open it, and everyone being so pissed off about it. So
yeah,
that's why
that's
Nintendo
about
is much
pacing.
better spacing. It's like 2 to 3 minutes at most on their games.
Yep. Steve, what about you?
Yeah, I agree. Rocksmith, it's interesting that they're finally bringing that back. I got the 2012 or whatever the last one they did, and it's great. I got it on sale. I got this like special edition and everything, and then never played it. But so it's cool. I need to look more into figuring out what this means. Is it like a combination, or if it's actually a new game or something like that? But love the
That's a new
idea of
game.
it. That's a brand new game. So.
Brand new game, and one of the things they're doing is they're using your phone as a microphone, so you don't need like peripherals for your guitar. You can have your phone like with an app in listening mode, so it listens to how you play, and it responds to the game if you're playing it correctly.
Okay, that's cool. I watched Mythic Quest and I stopped after one episode. So
oh wow, that bad, huh?
Not that bad. It just didn't grab me. But yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna echo that. Werewolves Within could be really interesting as a movie. I just did Raging Loop, which is a visual novel on the Switch about the Werewolves Within game. And I love the concept of Werewolves Within. I like how in the trailer it's like, this is one of the best games you've never heard of. And I agree, Werewolves Within is a really cool game. So it's interesting that they took that and made it into a movie. Also, interestingly, it stars the AT&T girl, which it was weird seeing her in like a more horror type atmosphere as opposed to selling cellular phones. But yeah, a lot of the stuff is on subscription, and Avatar looks beautiful, but it's a first person. And like, I was like, oh no, that sucks. So then we get to one of my favorite shows, and I really hope you've watched this, Steve, and if you're not, you need to go and watch this, and same with you, Greg, is Devolver Digital show. And Devolver Digital is famous for doing the most off-the-wall, incredibly crazy, I can't believe they got away with that shows. And they did it again with the Devolver Max Pass Plus showcase. And that was on June 12th again. There were 2 games shown off for the Switch, which were Wizard with a Gun and Demon Throttle. The unique thing about Demon Throttle is that it will never be a digital release. It is a physical only release available right now from Special Reserve Games. It's an open pre-order to October 13th. Looks great, but it is a physical only release, and they stressed that. The other games they showed off were unfortunately not on the Switch as of now. Some of it looked really cool. The trailers were bizarre and amazing, as was the rest of the show. Did you guys get a chance to watch this show at all? Please tell me yes.
Nope, not yet. But I have watched the other ones though. I have seen their past ones. I just didn't get a chance to watch this one yet. So it'll be on my to watch list.
What about you, Greg?
I unfortunately didn't watch it, but I do remember you like really upping like their presentation style, and I really need to jump in and watch these.
You got to go back to 2007. You got to do an order that's actually a continued storyline. It's not even their real employees. They hire actors to do this. Like, it's a professional film set. They actually go ahead and do this with the continued actors doing this whole storyline. This year, one of the crazy things they did, in addition to everything else they've done, is they made a videotape of the entire presentation. Only one videotape of it, and they broke the tab so it can never be copied. And they sold it on their site to one collector. Only one person got it for $1,000, and it sold out instantly. They also sold apparel. And if you go to their site, the apparel description is hilarious. Like, it is one of those things for their type of humor. And you can do this now as Max Pass Plus. Devolver Max Pass Plus is a real site, and their apparel, which I don't even think is around anymore, because they've sold it already, and there are very few things. One of them was a suit. There's an actor that wore a suit. It was $500. And the description of the suit is bespoke beauty business. Buy it. This custom suit was featured in the Devolver Cinematic Universe 2021 thingy that was shown as part of the Summer Games Fest. There are 2 for sale because we weren't sure if the actor would get chilly on them, but they did not. And so they are ready for your next pitch meeting. Drinks at the JW Marriott or Backyard Barbecue. $500. Like, they're just having fun with these type of things. Like their t-shirt, show your never-ending love and undying loyalty to your favorite fashion line and 4th favorite video game publisher with the stylish branded stylish shirt. It is purple, it is branded, it is soft, and it proves that you have a lifetime subscription to Devolver Digital, which in turn only gets you this shirt. Like they love their humor, and they're so on point. And if you haven't checked their shows out, do it. And their games are really good too. So you should go back and watch that. But for me, Wizard with a Gun looks like a lot of fun, as does Demon Throttle, both games on the Switch. And the rest of the games look interesting. Trek to Yami looks really cool. I do hope that comes over. And while I'm not a big mobile person, Tumble Time, watch that trailer. It's part of the thing. That is probably one of my favorite video game trailers of the year, just because it's hilarious. And, if you like comedy, you'll probably enjoy that. So moving on, because now we're on June 13th. Microsoft and Bethesda had a joint showcase. So usually we talk about the Bethesda showcase because they do show Switch games. Microsoft now owns Bethesda, so they combined it. So they did surprisingly show some Switch stuff. That's also on Xbox. 4 games, in fact, were shown off. So we'll talk about them briefly. Diablo 2 Resurrected, which is coming September 23rd. Among Us, again, we talked about that. There has 15-player lobbies coming to Xbox, and hopefully that's also coming to the Switch. And then from the creators of Suikoden, the old RPG series on the PlayStation and PlayStation 2, you have Yuden Chronicles 100 Heroes in 2023, and a surprise action RPG spin-off called Yuden Chronicles Rising, which is coming out next year. Greg, any of these excite you?
No, I can't really say anything. I haven't really played tons of Bethesda games because they just recently been on board with Switch with like Skyrim and stuff, so I haven't really seen too much of their other stuff. So I have heard of games like Diablo and stuff, but I don't know if that's quite my cup of tea with it style of gameplay. So it pretty much will more be just mostly pass unless when I go through the list in more detail, that I see something else that might stick out.
Yeah, I figured Uden Chronicle would be up your alley. It looks like Octopath Traveler. It looks beautiful. Really gorgeous game. Steve, what about you?
Yeah, I already talked about Among Us. I'm kind of over that game, but Diablo's one of those series that I've always seen people talk about with so much love, and I've never gotten into it. So maybe one of these days I'll get into it. It's cool that Diablo 2 is coming. It means we got 2 and 3 on Switch. So
Yep.
one is going to eventually come.
Maybe. Yeah, if you haven't played Diablo, I definitely recommend it. Diablo 2 was one of the few games, that I remember getting at launch and being so excited because we finally wouldn't have patches, because Blizzard was notorious with patches, and playing Diablo was always, every time you logged in, there was new patches. On day one, there was a patch, and I was pissed off that I had to wait and download this patch. Diablo is a fantastic game. Diablo 2 is like creme de la creme of the isometric action RPG. Highly recommend it. And Unit Chronicles is actually a game I kickstarted, forgot about, realized I kickstarted when I showed it off here, and was like, oh my god, this game looks amazing, because it does. It looks like Octopath Traveler, looks beautiful, and the fact that we're getting an action RPG to tide us over is even better, because I'd rather, especially Kickstarter games, have a little more time in development, a smaller team. But if you like Octopath Traveler, and especially if you like the Suikoden games, or you just like RPGs in general, I definitely recommend you look up trailers for this game. It looks phenomenal. So yeah, that
Yeah,
to
I'll
me,
definitely be doing that, because I didn't quite realize it was an Octopath Traveler like game. So that's
yes,
probably definitely going to be something I will strongly consider looking into probably tomorrow.
yeah, I highly recommend look at the trailer. You can look at the Kickstarter too and see what it's about. But yeah, phenomenal. They showed a bunch of other stuff. Most of it is Xbox and PC. I will say Flight Simulator looks fantastic, and the new Forza Horizon 5, absolutely stunning. I wish Switch had that type of graphics. I would
Those
love for Nintendo to do that.
those are the two for sure that stood out to me. Like having a Top Gun
Yeah.
crossover and Flight Simulator,
Yeah.
that's fantastic. So yeah, I hope to play it on the Switch Pro, that maybe, or whatever. But yeah, both of those
I
games.
doubt it. Flight Simulator is only coming to Series X or S and X. It's not even
Yeah.
Xbox One.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Like
there's no way.
like
Switch.
while I wish both, a game like Forza, either of the Forza franchises or Flight Simulator to come to Switch, I know it's not going to, or any Nintendo platform. But I'm excited about them coming to Xbox though.
Yeah, at least you can have the ability to play if you have an Xbox. And of course, Jakester mentioned it, but they did also have a mini fridge you can purchase that looks like an Xbox Series X. So they did show that off at the end. So that's a thing if you want a mini fridge. So then it comes to what other people consider the worst presentation. I think it was better than Ubisoft Forward, but everyone's different. That's on the 13th as well, is the Square Enix Presents, which only had 2 Switch games shown off originally, but now has more Switch games shown off. Legend of Mana was shown off, Neo The World Ends With You, Guardians of the Galaxy, Life is Strange Remastered Collection, and Life is Strange True Colors. And I'll just, since it's so short, I'll just briefly show or talk about the other stuff that was shown off, and you guys can weigh in on everything. They did Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster, which is Final Fantasy 1 to 6, but it's only coming to PC and mobile, no consoles. That is boggling and probably the biggest flub in my opinion. Marvel's Avengers is getting updates. Mobile, they had a whole bunch of mobile stuff. Hitman Sniper, Nier Reincarnation, War of the Visions, Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, Final Fantasy VII, The First Soldier, and then they showed off Babylon's Fall, which is a new game from Platinum Games, which Nintendo fans know, except it's a service game, so keep that in mind. And then they ended really with Strangers of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin, which is this action RPG Final Fantasy game. It's a spin-off that is available. There's a demo now, which I downloaded, but I haven't played. That's only on PS5. And they reminded us that Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade's out, Nier Replicant's out, Outriders is out, and Forspoken, Final Fantasy 16, and Final Fantasy 14 Endwalker are on their way. Greg, any of this stand out from you from Square Enix?
Well, Mana series I've always been kind of interested in and still need to bite the bullet and get the collection that's already out. Um, I think that was pretty much the only like newer one that we haven't previously talked about. Like you, I don't know why that Final Fantasy like thing is not coming to Switch because that would have been incredible. Because I really like they were showing like 4 and 6 and stuff. I saw a couple clips of that and like why the heck is this not on Switch?
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, that totally doesn't make
Steve?
sense. Um, yeah, Mana. I've been going back and forth only because of time for Legend of Mana. So we'll see if I end up getting it or not. But yeah, the rest of the stuff I think we've talked about already. Life of Strange, I'm interested for sure. But yeah, I don't know. Marvel's Adventures confused me because I got an email about it and I thought it was an actual Wakanda Forever trailer, and it was just more information about the game update. And made me upset because I thought we were actually getting a real trailer for the movie instead.
No.
But yeah, I was like, that. How did that happen already? But yeah, that's pretty much that. All that really stands out to me.
Yeah, Legend of Mana, I love the Mana series, and I did the World Ends with You final remix earlier this year. So one of the reasons I did it is because Neo: The World Ends with You is coming out this year. So I do plan to play that and complete that little marathon. Again, I talked about Life is Strange and Guardians of the Galaxy. If I play Guardians, it's going to be like the PS5 or Series X version. And of the other games, Final Fantasy 14 and Walker, I'm totally looking forward to, and I know that's going to absorb me, and I just have to prepare for it. And Final Fantasy 16 looks great, and Strangers of Paradise, I do plan now that E3 is over, and I might have some time to try that demo out, and that will decide whether or not I go after Chaos more or not. And the Babylon's Fall kind of looked interesting, but when it's a service game, I just lose interest, and that's sad because that's Platinum. I expect a lot from Platinum. So next on June 13th, because we're still there was a PC gaming show. 5 Switch games were shown off at the PC gaming show. That's crazy. You wouldn't think watching the PC gaming show you would see Switch games, but there are. There's Dodgeball Academia, Lumber Hill, Vampire the Masquerade, Swan Song, Next Space Rebels, and Far Changing Tides. Steve, any of these come out to you and say, "Oh, you know what? I want this."
Nope.
No.
I mean, to be completely honest, no. I think Lumber Hill looks interesting. I'll have to look into it more. I feel like it looks cool, but I don't know. It doesn't seem any more, I don't know, enticing than some other games of its style. But that's really the only one that stands out to me on first look. Again, haven't given all of these much time at all, but that's the only one that kind of stands out to me.
Yeah, the
Greg?
main one for me I think was like the Dodgeball Academia because I don't know if that's like a reference to Super Dodgeball I thought I saw on Twitter at some point, but maybe I'm making that up. I thought I saw something along those lines, but yeah, that might be the only one that really could interest me. And again, like Steve said, I just need to review the 4 trailers for the other trailers for these games again because I missed the show.
I hear you there. So for me, Dodgeball Academia was the standout. It just looks really cool. I'm hoping for a physical. I also see in the chat we've got a Kevin Wallace asking us what's up. Kevin Wallace, if you are in fact the same Kevin W, that is at Nintendo Dad 420, please send us a message on Twitter because you are the winner of Long Ago, our giveaway. So congratulations. So then later on that day we had the Future Game Show. Future Game Show had a bunch of stuff for Switch as well. Like already, there's been so many games for Switch, there's no time. So let's throw more games onto it because why not? Grow, Song of the Evertree, Death Run TV, Happy Game, Minute of Islands, Akiba's Trip, Hellhound and Debriefed, Shadowverse Champions Battle, Rune Factory 5, Bitora, Lost Heaven, 2 Point Campus again shown off, Conway, Disappearance at Daklaview, Ali World again shown off, Eldest Souls, Tales of Iron, Silly, A Tale of Paper, Gestalt, Steam and Cinder, Dice Legacy, and for Overcooked All You Can Eat, a Happy Birthday update. Greg, do any of these call to you?
Not at a immediate glance, because I haven't really seen too much of the trailers for these. Again, sometimes it's kind of hard based on even just going through the name. So I could list off a number of them and it'd be completely not my style of game at all. So instead of just trying to guess on names without even the small description, I'll just have to say I'll review it and possibly bring it up at like a future podcast.
Clearly, no one on this podcast does their homework. Steve, what
Clearly,
about
I
you?
was out of the country. I have a good excuse.
There's no excuse. You have a cellular telephone.
Yes, but I was in a developing country that has not good cell signal. So, yeah, I think the only one that stands out to me, we already mentioned, it was Ollie World. Yeah, maybe interested in a couple others. I mean, there's definitely some like Rune Factory 5 that is just not my cup of tea, and so obviously there's plenty of people out there that are huge fans of it, but not my kind of thing. Yeah, it's cool. Again, just another gigantic list, which is awesome just to see. I mean, just comments about that is just like that's another huge list of games.
Yeah, so many this year. For me, Rune Factory 5 is the biggest standout because I can't wait for that game. One thing they did show is Rune Factory 4 Special and The Last Story of Seasons, which were Switch exclusives, are actually going to PlayStation and Xbox, which is kind of interesting because I don't know if they had some kind of deal with Xseed, but I know those games don't do as well on other systems, but kind of nice to let other people, if more people get to play Rune Factory, the better. And as far as I'm concerned, that game's awesome. Kiba's Trip is also kind of weird to see come that it's only the first game because there are two. It's like a vampire game where like all the vampires are women trying to kill you, and as you damage them, they lose their clothes so that the sun damages them more and eventually kills. It's like a really weird game. But it's great to see, on the Switch, like sure, more things. And Happy Game. Happy Game is one that I'm not going to talk about. A Happy Game is one that you need to watch the trailer, but I will say it really looks cool. That's really cool. So Happy Game is definitely an interesting title. So then we do the Indie Game Showcase, which was June 14th. Indie Game Showcase was really short. In fact, the Indie Game Showcase and the next one were super short, and they came back to back, and it was almost like, wait, am I in the next one now? But there were still some games shown off for the Switch. We had Toy Soldiers HD, Moolander, Bio Interstellar Arc, also known as Bark, Neko Ghost Jump, were the 4 titles released for the Switch. And we can kind of lump with the next game because they kind of lumped it together, which was the Freedom Game Show, also on the June 14th, where 5 games were shown off for the Switch. Dreamscaper, Airborne Kingdom, Koromon, Cat Cafe Manager, and To the Rescue, a dog shelter simulator. So amongst between these 2 shows, was there anything that stood out to you, Steve?
No.
No.
I'm just seeing though. It's funny that one had a game that's called Bark, and another one had a dog shelter simulator, and a cat cafe. I think there's a theme going on here.
There could be.
No. But like I said with the wholesome games, like a lot of these are games that I definitely need to spend more time looking into, because they're indie games that are kind of out there and like totally genre bending and all these different things. So that's really cool. But I definitely need to spend more time looking into each of these, because I can't tell much at all from just the titles, like Greg said before.
Greg, I feel you're in the same boat, aren't you?
Pretty much. But I did think Toy Soldiers HD was in a previous Nintendo Indie Direct or whatever, Indie Showcase. And I believe I had said I was kind of interested in that one. So that one definitely obviously stuck out. But between the other ones, it's could be more research needed and do like Steve's connection with all these cat and dogs stuff going on. Because then we also have like the
Yeah.
Bear and Breakfast Cafe and like lots of animal themed games that was the C3.
Animals confirmed for Switch. Well, Animal Crossing did so well. Yeah, Skatebirds. Put animals on the Switch. So for me, the one big standout one was Koromon, which is a Pokemon ripoff, but it looks really cool. And one of the things that I love the most about indie games is the stories behind them, talking with the developers or hearing the developers talk about their story. And the To the Rescue, a dog shelter simulator, like the developer was talking, and like the game itself doesn't look like something I'm interested in, but I love the story behind it and why they made it. And for that reason alone, I'll point attention to it, because I love like a lot of these, AAA companies, a lot of it they do, oh, this will sell, this will sell. A lot of times you lose like the heart and soul behind a game. It's more like, this is a corporate cash grab. Here's how we can make more money. And on the indies, it's a total different thing. If they go out there, and a lot of times if they sell 500 copies, they're on top of the world. They feel like, oh my god, this is fantastic, because it's a passion project, and a lot of these are passion projects. So I definitely recommend even just watching the Freedom Game Show and the Indie Game Showcase, because especially the Freedom Game Show, because they're all published by Freedom Games, and all the developers are talking about it. Just the different things they absolutely like. Like one of the games is not coming to Switch, at least at the moment. It's PC only. It's called Slaughter League, which is like this 2D obstacle course kind of thing. But the developers like, I worked in school, and when I came home, this was my project. This is what I really like to do, and I put my heart and soul into it. And now I'm finally able to release it. It's coming out, and like I love stories like that. So if you also like that, check these directs out. They're really quick, but definitely worth your time. So June 14th ended. Not yet with that. You would think, all right, we're done. But no, there's still 2 showcases left in June 14th. And the first of those 2 is the Limited Run Games LRG3, which not only featured a bunch of games coming physically, but also some digitally that weren't there before. So here's what we have for this Switch. Axiom Verge 2 getting a physical. Blood Rain Betrayal Fresh Bites getting physical, and probably digital as well. So there's a series probably haven't heard from again or in a while. The Contra Anniversary Collection. The Double Dragon and Kuni-Kun Retro Brawler Bundle. Dusk, Ghoul Patrol, which is bundled with Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Fantastic Super Nintendo games. Going Under, Haven, Hunt Down, the Collector's Edition specifically. One Step from Eden. The one that I can't believe was their most requested game ever, and it is one of the notoriously worst games ever in existence, called Plumbers Don't Wear Ties, is coming to the Switch. Republic Anniversary Edition. Retromania Wrestling. River City Girls 0, River City Girls 2, RWBY Grim Eclipse, Skatebird, we've talked about it before, and there's confirmation that Skatebird is actually getting a physical, Strife, Super Hot, and The Takeover. Those are all the Switch physicals. To cover the other ones, Castlevania Requiem, Symphony of Night, and Rondo of Blood is to PS4. They're doing Castlevania Rondo of Blood on the Turbo Duo, one that never got a US release. They are actually putting out a TurboGrafx CD game, which is fantastic, because I never thought that would come out in America. River City Girls is also coming to PS5. And then the entire Shantae lineup of games is coming to the PS5, along with the original Shantae on PS4. So that will be 3 systems you can get the entire library for all your Shantae needs. Steve, any of these stand out to you? Any of these say, oh, I really want to play these?
I think it's cool that the Contra Anniversary Collection is coming. Same thing with the Double Dragon game. And not that I'm excited, but it is interesting that River City Girls itself is not coming to Switch, but the 0
it's already
and 2
out on Switch.
River
City Girls is already out on Switch.
Oh, okay, that's why. Okay,
they're just bringing it to PS5. It came out for Switch and PS4 already.
Okay, that makes sense then. But yeah, I think it's cool that like Super Hot's coming over as well. Skatebird. I think there's a lot of these games it's really cool that they're getting physical releases. I think the only one that would probably maybe convinced me to get it. If I enjoy, like I said earlier with Axiom Verge, I need to check out the games first. But if I become a big fan, that could be one that I end up getting. The other ones, Contra and Double Dragon, that's really cool. Castlevania, it's really cool, but I'm not enough of a fan to get them physically. But still really cool to see all these games coming out physically, though.
What about you, Greg?
Yeah, I was gonna say, wasn't the Contra one already out, or is that
It's
new?
out digitally already. It's already digitally out on the Switch. That's a physical.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, definitely. I think I already have that, but great to see that it's coming. Kind of surprised that it's limited run bringing it and not, was it Konami?
Konami, yeah.
So, gotta love Konami. Must not be doing too well. They can't even print their own games anymore. But yeah, Axiom Verge 2 we already talked about. Great that Contra's finally getting a physical release, even though it should have been when it launched whatever, a year or two ago. Double Dragon, another series I've loved, and I think that's probably also on the eShop already, and now getting another. Yep, so they've fallen behind on those, it seems. And I think that was pretty much it, because a lot of these are just physical versions of games that are already out for the most part, but I think the ones that are not are just going to have to be added to my list of trailers to review.
Yeah, definitely look at your trailers. If you've never played the Zombie Ate My Neighbors and the Ghoul Patrol, check those out. They're Super Nintendo classics and Sega Genesis classics as well. I still am in disbelief that Plumbers Don't Wear Ties is actually going to be available on the Switch and the PlayStation 4. And the PS5 even. That to me is just so mind-boggling. And if you've never seen anything of it, Angry Video Game Nerd did an episode of it. It is so bad, and that is a hilarious video. So if you need a laugh, but that's one of those games that's like a gag thing. Like, wait, you're serious? It's great to see Contra finally come. New Blood Rain. I mean, God, when was the last time we had a Blood Rain? Blood Rain 2 was like forever ago. I'm just actually stoked that Rondo of Blood is getting a TurboGrafx CD physical release officially. That to me is awesome. It's one of those games that should have been an English release a long time ago. Finally, another disappointing show for those out there was Capcom. Capcom had a little segment. People were expecting, is it a new Mega Man, or is it a new Resident Evil, or is it new Street Fighter, or what are we going to get from Capcom? They have so many great IPs. So we had Monster Hunter Stories 2 again, where they announced the demo with the cross-save feature. Monster Hunter Rise had new content and a crossover event with Monster Hunter Stories 2. The Great Ace Attorney was shown off, which is the Ace Attorney game and set in the past. 2 games that we never got here, so it's actually 2 in 1. And then they did show off some Resident Evil 8 Village, and they spent a whopping 10 minutes of their 30-minute show talking about Street Fighter V and the competitions behind it. Greg, what are your thoughts on Capcom's E3 showings?
Okay, so this is actually the one show outside the Direct that I actually did watch, but I definitely turned it off during that Street Fighter V when they said it was like their last thing, because that didn't really faze me or really interest me to watch the suffer through that. I've already talked about Monster Hunter. I'm not really into that series. The Great Ace Attorney, I am kind of intrigued to give that a shot once that comes over. It's been one of those things I've seen a lot of people recommend for Smash Brothers to have him join, so I was kind of intrigued to give that series a shot, and I know we were talking a little bit on Discord about that, so hoping to get my chance to finally play that series on Switch. And not really huge into Resident Evil, and as I was saying, I turned it off during Street Fighter because I haven't really played any of them since the second one, which there was like 1,000 copies of versions of.
Just so you're aware, Greg, Ace Attorney, the first 3 Ace Attorney games are available on the Switch right now, digitally and physically, if you want to buy the Japanese version, which is in English. So you can actually play those games right now.
Awesome, even better.
Steve, what about you?
Yeah, I don't care about any of that. I mean, we've talked Monster Hunter and how all of us just, it's not our thing. And I really never got into the Ace Attorney stuff. clearly I'm like, there's a lot of people that think differently than I do on that, but yeah, I just never really got into it. And yeah, I know all about Street Fighter 5 competitions. Why spend so much time on it? Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna echo a lot of that. I thought that I was into this, like maybe there'll be a surprise. Maybe we'll get some Mega Man. That's what I was hoping for. I expected the Monster Hunter and the Resident Evil 8. Like, how could they not talk about it? It's been so big. And Greatest Attorney was for me the standout because it was exclusive to that show. It was the only show it was shown off in. And I'm happy that one's actually getting a physical in America because had to import the other ones. But yeah, it was another lackluster show. It really had no business being a show. Like, there was no reason Capcom had to reserve that 30-minute time slot. They didn't have enough to show, and most of that stuff was shown off in other showcases anyway. But no, they made us wait till the end of the day for E3 for that. And then I do have to say, today, obviously we had the Nintendo Direct, and Bandai Namco went after the Nintendo Direct and showed off one game, and I forget what it was even, and that was it. Again, why even have a time slot for one game? Just throw that in another showcase. So yeah, that was the end of E3. It ended, that part ended on a whimper, but it's, of course, Nintendo Direct was today. Overall, what did you guys think of this year? Like, just with everything.
Yeah. Greg, how about you go first?
I've definitely really enjoyed Nintendo's coverage. Even though we just went through this, it's great to see tons of indie support, and definitely will be checking out a lot more trailers regarding those. Definitely didn't really seem like a lot of big hitters for like the other platforms, really, like PS4, PS5, and stuff, unless I'm not following correctly, but it didn't seem like we had a lot of interest in a number of those going through all the shows. So definitely been seeing that a lot of people were hoping Nintendo to bail out E3 in general, and I really almost think they did that because there were some really huge titles that we spent the majority of the podcast covering. So overall, I think E3 was pretty good, and it'd be nice again if they'd have actual demos for us to play like during like this week.
Yeah. I agree. I think Nintendo, I think it's the only show I watched, but after hearing about all of them, it's the only one that I like really want to watch as well. Like, I'm not any huge, like, I've got a couple that I'm excited about going to see, but nothing like, oh my gosh, I've got to check this game out or this show out right after we get done here. It kind of just seemed like we did our best, and which is okay. But I think there's also some, like, even though I think Nintendo's did really well, I think it was not one of their strongest E3 as well. I think they've done far better in other years, put out some really big games. Like, they put out some big games this year, but they put out some really big ones in the past, and still no word of Switch Pro. So we thought it might have been announced already before E3. Here we are after E3, and still no Switch Pro official confirmation. So, we'll see. But yeah, in general, it could have been better, but I'm glad we had something this year. And it seemed like there were some other developer or publishers that put out some, seems like, quality shows with a lot of games, which is really cool. I think that was the biggest thing that stood out to me, is there's a lot of games, especially from some lower level publishers. But the big ones, like, didn't show up. Or barely showed up. So I guess things have switched.
I think I'm going to echo that. I think the bigger publishers definitely didn't show up, and the indies stole the show outside of Nintendo. And I think this has probably been the most games shown off in an E3 for a Nintendo console. Like, the amount of games shown off is insane. And despite everything, the amount of time I spent even compiling the list of everything and watching the shows, right? Like, it was insane, just the amount of stuff. Oh my God, another one for Switch. Oh my God, another one for Switch. Like, this is crazy. So there's a lot of great titles that I do recommend people go back and check and watch the trailers and give some time to, because it's just, there's so much. And I will disagree with Steve on this. I do think this was actually one of Nintendo's better shows. In fact, I put it at an 11 out of 10. and it hit all the notes with me, and it hit my predictions. When we did our predictions, I had two of my three, and that was awesome. I was so happy to see that because that's what I wanted. And the stuff that, came over, even stuff I've already played, are series that I feel very passionate about, like Life is Strange and Danganronpa, and I'm so happy to see that stuff come over. And yeah, there's a lot of chords, a lot of people, Advance Wars and WarioWare and Mario Party and stuff like that. And Metroid, 2D Metroid, plus new 3D Zelda, and the same thing is good with me. But yeah, I think overall it was a weaker E3. I think Nintendo definitely saved it. However, I think the amount of games was greater this year than other years, but I think most people are going to overlook it because they're indie games. And unfortunately, a lot of people look at indie games as a dime a dozen or as lesser experiences and not worth their time because all they want is the next AAA game. And that's a shame because there are some real indie game gems.
Yep, there definitely is plenty of those to go around. And as we were going through it, I was like, wow, there's so many Switch games, like you were saying. Like, I was not expecting that many more Switch games to be shown outside of Nintendo's Direct, because that's normally the only place to get the games that are coming on Switch. You don't expect to see like 20 some games in a different Direct, different coverage event, I should say. They're not all Directs, but
Yeah.
I mean, there were 5 Switch games in the PC game show, and 4 in the Microsoft show.
Yeah. I don't know numbers on some of them, but it seems like some of them almost had more Switch games listed in their Direct than Nintendo did themselves, or at least rivaling them, coming close. So that's really cool, for sure. And yeah, I think Nintendo had a solid show. I'm not saying it was bad at all, but I think the bar was low. So it was easy for them to win for sure. But I think even at that, they still way surpassed it, for sure.
Now here's a question for you guys. Since E3 is now done, we've seen what's out there. We see what's coming. We see their fall lineup. I mean, Nintendo has a stacked September, October, November, December. Like, there's a ton of great games coming out, especially if you factor in like Pokemon, which wasn't shown off, is coming out in November. So, on top of all that, do you think Switch Pro will be a thing even this year, or do you think these rumors will persist into next year where, they have a strong enough lineup this year, they don't need a Switch Pro now, let's wait till next year when they could have an even stronger system? What do you think?
I'm gonna jump in. I think we're looking at spring 2022 now. I think they're, unless it is fully backward compatible and just enhance things and stuff like that. If they go that direction, I could see possibly still this holiday, but I could also see them pushing it back to spring.
What about you, Greg?
This made me more think that could be more the successor than an actual like side grade, because just the sheer amount of games is kind of mind-boggling to go forward. I mean, the Wii was supported well into the Wii U's life cycle, and all they really need to do is have that backwards compatibility with all the Switch games, and would be a perfect kind of next-gen console.
Well, you think about it, Nintendo usually does 5-year cycles, with the Wii U only having a 4-year because it did so poorly. And if you think about that, 2017, you have 2018, you have 2019, you have 2020, you have 2021. So next March in 2022 will be the 5th year. So instead, you might be right, instead of a integrator like the Pro, a Switch 2 instead might very well be what we get.
Yeah, it's been cool to be able to ride this that long.
Because I'm not denying, I mean, there's certainly tons of content. There's tons of great stuff coming up. You would never see like any of these being like a swan song kind of thing. It's probably going to be well continued right past its life, and all they really need to do is have that backwards compatibility thing, and it's like an easy shot, like from extra cash and brand new exclusives to the new one, along with playing all the older ones.
Breath of the Wild 2, Swan Song on both systems. Just like it was for the Wii U. The first one was.
Certainly is kind of leaning that way now that we know it's 2022.
Yeah,
'Cause my
that's
prediction
true.
was this year, but obviously it's not. But
No,
I did give myself
not
a half
anymore.
point on that because I did say there would be a trailer and I did say there'd be a window, and 2022 is a window. So
A
January 1st.
365-day window.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's go quickly to the chat. Looks like Hiawatha says the game of the show is Metroid Dread for sure. Advanced Wars was the game that stole the direct for Jakester. And let's see. And Hiawatha also said that Nintendo said it was Switch was in its 5th year, which is correct. We've started the 5th year of the Switch now, so it's not 5 years old yet, but we are in the 5th year of its life cycle. So cool. Well, let's move on. Thank you all for, especially those of you guys that are live, jumping in all the chat and everything. Thank you guys for sticking with us. This is one of our longest podcasts, but there's so much to cover. Funny enough, in our pre-show talks, we were hoping to keep this like half the length that it actually is. So the good thing is that I have not had to jump off yet because. Yeah, my family is coming to visit, and their flight got delayed. So I had a little extra time, which is really good because we needed the extra time. And Chiblet took a little nap in the middle of it. So hopefully we put you to sleep really well, I guess. So yeah, thanks again, or congrats again to Kevin. Congratulations for winning that. We'll connect with you on Twitter and send us a DM to claim your code for that. Very, very quickly, we're just going to look at what games are coming out over the next couple weeks. Our next podcast episode is going to be on live on June 29th. We'll record that night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, and just looking at the games that are coming out over the next couple weeks. Some of them we talked about already within the E3 stuff, but yeah, there's several games that maybe you want to take note of. If you're watching the video version, you're seeing all of them scroll on the screen from Nintendo's website. But Olympic Games 2020 comes out on June 21st. Legend of Mana comes out on June 24th. Mario Golf Super Rush comes out on June 25th. Tony Hawk 1 and 2 also on June 25th. Disgaea 6 comes out on June 29th. Any of those games exciting for you guys, or were you looking forward to playing some different games? How about you first, Greg?
It'll probably just be different games. I mean, I'm still gotta fold through all the news on some of these trailers, and I do recognize a number of the ones we were showing off in the directs already. So it's just going to be a lot of catch up to see if there is some gems in this first batch before our next podcast, before just resuming the backlog.
Nice. How about you, Barry?
Yeah, there's some great games that I'm sure are going to be awesome. And Disgaea 6, I know so many people are looking forward to, and Mario Golf, of course, some people are looking forward to. And The Legend of Mana is probably the one I'm looking forward to the most. However, since it is one that I have played before, I played on the original PlayStation, it's one that I would play again if I didn't have anything else I was playing. But as I said, I'm going through the Danganronpa games, so I'm working on those primarily to get through that marathon. And on top of that, still playing games for like the Playcast and stuff like that. And I'm always getting new games to play for possible signing of physicals. So it's not a lot of time, but I haven't played games for the past 5 days. Like, I have not. I've been just E3 the whole time, pretty much. And now I'm going to try and get some rest over this week. I still have work to do, but I'm going to try and sit down and actually play some games as opposed to just writing about them and covering them.
Nice. Yeah, I think of the games coming out, one of the ones that I may jump on right away is Mario Golf. Mana I may eventually get to as well. Yeah, I think I've chatted about all the other games already earlier in the podcast. So yeah, looking forward to, of course, getting back to Rocket League. I haven't played it in over a week, which is kind of crazy. So looking forward to jumping back in there, and hopefully I didn't lose any skill over the last week, but that's probably not going to happen after just 1 week. But yeah, eventually when I get back into, I've said this probably 5 podcasts in a row, but I really want to get back into Age of Calamity. And so hopefully maybe I'll get a little time before our next podcast to play a few more chapters in that as well. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for episode 231. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Barry, this is a big evening for you. You got you got a few games launching, right?
Yes. So yeah, I can talk about that briefly here. For those that don't know, I do work for Premium Edition Games, and over at PremiumEditionGames.com, we actually just launched our Series 2 titles, which is Demon's Tier Plus and Robot Named Fight. They went live tonight at 5 p.m. Eastern, so just before we actually started recording, and we are doing exceptionally well, which is great. And the retro and the deluxe versions of those titles are very limited. They have 500 of each on our site. There's another 500 for distributors. So if these are titles you're interested in, these check them out. They're great titles first and foremost. Just give love to these developers, and if you want to own these physically and you want these cool bonuses, get them now, because when they're out, they're out. And there's not a lot left. If you just want to own them physically, they will be up for pre-order for an entire month till July 15th. And if you pre-order during that window, it is open pre-order, so you don't have to worry about it, but you will get an awesome, cool slipcover designed by the great Paul Niemeyer, who designed Mortal Kombat logo and a bunch of other stuff. He's an amazing artist, and those slipcovers are fantastic. So they are selling out. Those are definitely something you should be interested in. Go check it out, because it has been a busy day and an exciting launch, and just so thankful to all the people that have supported us, and just awesome people. And we had some cool talk just before this in our Discord with some people joining in, which was a lot of fun. I always love to talk to just anyone in general about gaming, but especially our customers who are also passionate about physical media and about playing awesome games. And I did an interview with Matt, who is the developer of Robot Named Fight. One-man team, awesome. It's like when I first played Dust. If you ever played Dust and Ecclesian Tale, play that if you haven't. That's a one-man team too. Anytime I talk with a one-man team is great. And the video interview of that is at Premium Edition Games' YouTube. And I did a written interview, which is available on the PremiumEditionGames.com website as well. So yeah. It's been a crazy build up for this, and I can't believe it's happened. I know a lot of people have been waiting for it, and it's so weird not seeing that coming soon banner anymore. But in fact, open for pre-order. We've worked hard, and the entire team. It's not me at all. It's the entire team: Jeff, JP, and Frank, and Erica, and Steve, and just like everybody there has done an exceptional job. And most importantly, of course, the customers.
Cool. Greg, anything on your mind before we wrap up today?
No, not really a whole lot going on here. Just going to be having some fun deep diving into these trailers over the next 2 weeks and seeing what's coming.
Yep. Same here. I got to do a lot of catch up over the next few days. So all in the same time, seeing my family. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully I'll maybe have a few more thoughts at the next episode. And at least I'll see more than just Nintendo stuff. So, all right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed yet, haven't followed us on social media, haven't hit that like button and all the other buttons, please be sure to do that and share this with other Nintendo fans. We are so grateful for you guys tuning in every time, especially for really extra long episodes like this one. But thank you guys so much. We'll be back in a couple weeks for episode 232. But until then, happy gaming, everybody.
Have a good one.
Happy gaming.